and concert information. For the visiting Rangers, they lead the West by 3 over Houston. They're 82-69. Their magic number sitting at 8. Delino DeShields leading off in center field, followed by Shin-Soo Choo in right. Prince Fielder at DH batting third. Adrian Beltre, the cleanup hitter at third base. Mitch Moreland at first batting fifth. Elvis Andrus, the shortstop, hitting sixth. Rougned Odor at second base in the seventh spot. Max Venable, his son, actually, Will Venable, is starting in left field batting eighth. Hitting ninth, the catcher, former A in spring training a couple of years ago out of Gilroy, Chris Jimenez, and that is for Cole Hamels, the 31-year-old left-hander out of San Diego, who is 4-1 this year for the Rangers since coming over from the Philadelphia Phillies, where he was 6-7 earlier this year. For the A's at 64 and 88, trying to snap a 4-game slide. And the Athletics will lead off Billy Burns in center, followed by Mark Canha at first base. Brett Laurie at second base is hitting third. Danny Valencia at third base batting cleanup. Billy Butler, the DH, hitting fifth. Josh Reddick in right in the sixth spot. Jake Smolinski is in left field batting seventh. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, hitting eighth. Carson Blair catching and batting ninth. For the right-hander, the 26-year-old Chris Bassett, 1-6 on the year, and a 2.82 ERA, making his first appearance for the Athletics since August 26th. This copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics for the private and non-commercial use of our audience. Any reproduction or retransmission of the description and accounts of this game in any form without the express written consent of the Oakland Athletics is strictly prohibited. Chris Bassett ready to go, and we are ready for some Thursday afternoon baseball. Once again, here's Ken.
It is a gorgeous day, and Delino DeShields leads it off, a right-handed hitter, and Bassett ready to go. And the first pitch of our ball game is a fastball taken for a strike.
Nothing wrong with him. It's a good fastball.
75 degrees at first pitch, by the way, Ray Fosse.
Perfect. It's a beautiful day.
It is a gorgeous day. Could not be better. The A's the gold tops. The Rangers the blue tops. Bassett fires, and it's low in the count, 1-1 strike. Chris is 1-6, as Vince said, but man, the numbers are really deceiving. He's pitched so much better than that. Delino DeShields checks in batting 256. Former #1 pick of the Astros. And now here's the 1-1 by Bassett. The windup. And here's the pitch. And that's swung on. A fly ball center field. Burns coming on. He's not going to get there. Has to play it on a hop. And so a leadoff single by DeShields. And that's the way our ball game begins.
And that's about the size of Chris Bassett right there. A jam, made a good pitch, gets a base hit center field. Run support, I mean, there are a lot of good things that have happened for Chris Bassett, but the win total is not where he wants it. But as well as he has pitched, he deserves a lot better.
Actually got a pitch that was in on DeShields, not a bad pitch. So that'll bring up Shin-Soo Choo. Bassett 6'5", 210. He's 26. He's out of Toledo, Ohio, and the University of Akron. 16th round pick of the White Sox in 2011. So just getting started. Here's Choo with Fielder on deck. And Choo fouls it back. The A's defensively today have Mark Canha at first. Brett Laurie's at second. Marcus Semien at short. Over third, Danny Valencia. Behind the plate is Carson Blair. The outfield for the Athletics, Jake Smolinski in left. In center, Billy Burns. The right fielder, Josh Reddick. Shin-Soo Choo is having a great second half. And in his last 7 games, he's 13 for 24. Bassett a move to first, not in time. DeShields back. Every game is so critical this time of year. 24th of September. And the Rangers lead the Astros by 3 games in the West, and the Angels are 4.5 back. So Bassett out of the stretch. Choo is 1 for 6 in the series. And now the pitch, and that's in there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. Paul Emmel is the plate umpire. Andy Fletcher at first. Jerry Meals at second. And big Jordan Baker is over at third.
Now, a lot of clubs remember what happened in 2012, especially those 2 teams, the A's and the Rangers. But around baseball, probably, it's one of those things, hey, anything can happen the last couple of weeks of the season.
Now the pitch by Bassett, a throw to first instead, not inside. You could make the point, Ray, that that was the most important regular season series in A's history.
Absolutely. do what the A's did in the final 3 games and to do what they did in the final couple of weeks, 10 days. But, you know, it was a special season. But I'm sure there are a lot of clubs who'd say, look what the A's did in 12. We can do the same thing.
And Bassett delivers to Chu, and that's taken inside. I was talking the other day, Ray, to John Daniels, the Rangers general manager, about that last series over the final weekend, the A's against the Rangers in 2012, and he was just struck by how the momentum built every day. And the crowds got bigger, the energy in the ballpark, it was just electric. The A's bullpen was on fire. They were all coming in throwing 95 miles an hour. And Bassett's delivery, and it swung on and foul back. Top of the first, no out to Shields at first for Texas. And the thing that struck John Daniels, and it was almost haunting, was leaving the ballpark after every game and hearing the crowd.
And realizing
as it was slipping away from Texas.
And they only needed 1 win.
Yeah.
Come in and win 1 game of the 3, and they just could not do it.
Jeff Bannister, the skipper of the Rangers in his first year, and he's having them really playing well here in September. Here's Bassett's pitch, and a good duel with Chu. It swung on and fouled back. It's amazing how things have flipped in the division. I mean, you go back to the 1st of September, Ray, and the Rangers were 4 games behind the Astros. I mean, they've totally flipped it.
Well, the Astros do not want to be mentioned with the Phillies at 64, and especially the Red Sox in 2011.
Of course, Cole Hamels has been a big part of that turnaround. Here's a throw to first, not in time. But if you go back to September 1st, the Astros were 73-59. The Rangers were 68-62. But right now, the Astros have the 2nd worst record in the American League this month. And it's flipped because the Astros are 7-14 and the Rangers are 14-7. Bassett throws, the runner goes, a breaking ball inside. That'll be a steal, uncontested, of second base by Delino DeShields.
It's almost like he knew a curveball was going to be thrown, that he would have an easy stolen base, and he did. No chance for Carson Blair. You know, this weekend, I'm sure that the Astros are watching what happens today, but they also know what's going to be happening starting tomorrow night. And I would hope that home field advantage for the Astros at Minute Maid Park is going to be comparable to what the A's had here in those final 3, 2012.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, swung on a fly ball right field. Reddick going back, turning around at the track to the out-of-town scoreboard. It's off the very top of the wall, and DeShields is at third, rounding third. He's going to score on a double to right by Chu. And right off the top, the Rangers take a 1-0 lead. And Shin-Soo Choo almost got it out.
At his speed, the A's are probably fortunate he's not standing at third. And maybe because he thought he hit it out, maybe settled for 2. But Josh Reddick had the ball come back off the wall, and he was not able to handle it cleanly. And that's probably at that point should have allowed Choo to get to third.
So it's 1-0 and still nobody out, and Fielder standing in after the double by Chu. And that's his 72nd run batted in. And here's the pitch to Prince, and a ground ball to the right side into the shift, and taken to second by Brett Lawrie. He throws to first for the out. So Fielder is out 4-3. On the play going to third is Chu. If you're wondering about Bassett, and his last start was actually a game that we simulcast up in Seattle against Felix Hernandez and the Mariners, when he allowed 4 runs in the first inning, and the sore shoulder shelving him, actually a scapula issue related to the shoulder blade. As here's Beltre, who's had a great series. He's batting at .279, hit a 3-run home run last night. Now the A's bring the infield in. But that start for Bassett was on the 26th of August. 1-0 Texas, and there's a fastball for a strike. Most recently for Bassett, trying to come back and do his work on the side in Houston over the weekend. He threw 2 innings in the bullpen and then came out onto the pitcher's mound at Minute Maid Park and faced hitters for the last 3 or the third inning that he worked. Beltre swings and fouls it back right side out of play. So in essence, he pitched about 3 innings, 2 in the pen and 1 on the mound facing hitters. And he threw about 75 pitches as part of that simulated action last weekend.
And considering he is limited to how many pitches he can throw today, it once again means that Bob Melvin's going to have to go to his bullpen probably earlier than he would like.
Well, that's been so frustrating for him. Now the 0-2 on the way, and Beltre sprays it foul right side back out of play. This time of year, Ray, and somebody once said that the pros really play in September. And this guy's a pro, Beltre.
He's a pro. The Rangers had 4 sacrifice flies on Tuesday night, and because Prince Fielder rolled over on a ground ball to get Chu to third base, infield's in, another sac fly. And situational baseball, and that's what teams that are winning and in contention do in September.
And the pitch with the infield in is a breaking ball shot, one hopping right through Valencia into left field for a hit. And so Chu can walk home. Beltre singles to left. It's 2-0 Texas in the first. For Beltre, his 68th RBI. Hanging breaking ball.
Fifth position, first baseman, number 18, Mitch Moreland.
And that'll bring up Mitch Moreland.
That's the hot corner. Hanging breaking ball. That's breaking ball. It was when Shields stole second, was a breaking ball, curveball down. He kind of overcompensated and left it up too much.
It ate up Valencia down there, Ray. Too tough to handle, so that'll bring up Mitch Moreland, who's batting .284, and there's a strike on the inside corner. So already 2-0 Rangers. They have 3 hits. I mean, it's this time of year you want your big guns to step up.
Sure. And
Beltre for the previous 12 games batting .458. Now the A's shift the infield for Moreland. Moreland's 4 for 8 on the series. And the pause and the pitch, and that's taken a strike off speed on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. So Bassett came up with the White Sox. Moreland, by the way, has tied his career high this year with 23 home runs. Remember that late in the year last year, while pitching for the White Sox, Bassett pitched a good game against the A's in Chicago. Outfield, a gap in right center. And the pitch to Moreland on the way is outside. A good play going to his left by Carson Blair. Two nothing Texas. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 out, top of the first. Final meeting this year between these two clubs. The A's have won the season series. Right now it's 10-8. And the 1-2 pitch by Bassett, here it is. Swung on and missed. He throws it by him, and Moreland strikes out for the second out. A little cutting action in on the hands of Mitch Moreland from Bassett.
Well, he's using all of his pitches, which is good. No limitations. It's just probably going to be the number of pitches he can throw. What do you say, 60 to 70 in that neighborhood?
I would think maybe they'd be thrilled if he could throw 75. So with 2 out, here's Andrus batting at .260, 7 homers, 59 RBIs, 4 for 8 on the series, hit a 3-run home run last night. Outfield slightly toward right. Bassett came to the A's as a big piece of the Jeff Samardzija deal. And there's a strike on the inside corner, 0-1. DeShields singled, stole second, scored on Chu's double. Fielder bounced out. Beltre singled. Moreland struck out. And for Elvis Andrus, a career high with the 7 home runs. And this guy plays almost every day. He's one of the most durable shortstops in baseball. His 149th start this year. And Bassett's delivery is swung on and popped up right of home plate. Playable for Carson Blair, and the A's catcher is right there, and he makes the catch. But the Rangers get the jump on the A's as Texas puts 2 runs on the board. Billy Burns will lead off for the A's as it's 2-0 Rangers, with the A's coming up in the bottom half. 2016 ticket plans are on sale now. You can get on board early with 2016 priority seating and choose your exact seating location for next season. They offer a variety of full and partial season plans that qualify for great benefits, including half-price parking, a flexible ticket exchange program, and more. And for more information, you can call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/2016. Surprise, Billy Burns swings at the first pitch. And a ground ball to third taken by Beltre, and one pitch, one away in the bottom of the first, with the Rangers leading 2-0.
Can't read a promo with Billy coming up.
No, that's right. That's a good lesson, Ray.
Unless you want to do a recreation of a first pitch, because he's got to be swinging.
So here's Mark Canha coming up. Cole Hamels with the Rangers 4-1, a 3.73 ERA. He's making his 10th start for Texas. He's allowed 63 hits in 62 2/3 innings. Most recently beat the Mariners this past Saturday when he allowed 7 hits and 1 run in 7 innings. 31-year-old from San Diego, actually just north of San Diego, up around Rancho Bernardo. And the pitch is strike to Canha, who leads the American League rookies in runs batted in with 66. And he stands in batting at .254. And Hamels ready and delivers and misses inside, and the count 1-1. Hamels may not have great memories from last time he pitched in the Bay Area, and that was against the Giants back in early July. Now the lefty turns and fires. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on line and past to diving Andrews into left field for a base hit. So the shortstop Andrews diving to the backhand side, couldn't corral it. Might have bruised his knee a little bit, or
Batting third, second baseman.
Replace or reattach the Band-Aid. Off-speed pitch. Mark Canha just continues to swing the bat well, pitch away from him, and able to hook it past the diving Andrus.
So Brett Lawrie is standing in. We talked about Hamels in his last start in the Bay Area. That was on the 10th of July against the Giants when he went 3 1/3. He allowed 12 hits and 9 runs, and people were saying, what's wrong with Hamels? and how great of a trade candidate is he? Strike on the outside corner, and the count, no balls and 1 strike. And I think on the 25th of July, he put all those concerns at rest when he fired that no-hitter against the Cubs at Wrigley Field. He faces Lawrie in the bottom of the first and misses inside, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
You have to also think about the competition and the fact that Phillies were so bad as a team. A little bit disinterested maybe as far as pitching, knowing that the trade rumors were out there. The Phillies trying to unload as many as they could.
So the pitch, and here it is, and taken inside. How tough is that on a ball player, Ray?
Well, first of all, to be thought of being traded has to really weigh a lot on the mind, and I don't think he needed to pitch well to be traded, because no matter if he was 0 for whatever the season, he was still going to command a pretty good package from a team.
Runner goes. The 2-1 is swung on foul back out of play. Canha got a great jump on Hamels. He could have walked to second base.
That's where you're hoping with the count of 2-1 that Brett Lawrie would have taken the pitch, let him steal, because he had such a big jump. First move by Hamels, and the speed that he has, and plus the great jump, he was going to steal it easy.
The other thing, too, about the modern player with Cole Hamels, he could dictate almost, in many respects, where he was going to be traded as the conversations were heating up.
So the 2-2 pitch on the way with 1 out, swung on, and a foul tip, and Lawrie stays alive. No hitter against the Cubs was the first thrown against the Cubs in literally 50 years. Sandy Koufax with a perfect game at Dodger Stadium in '65. Harvey Keene, the final out. So the 2-2 with 1 out, here it is, and Lawrie, it's a ground ball, double play ball to short. Andrus goes to second, relay by Odor, and that's a 6-4-3 double play. And that quickly, the bottom of the first comes to an end. So Hamels takes care of the A's, and after 1, the A's and the Rangers' final game of the series, 2-0 Texas. in favor of the Rangers. And we'll pause 10 seconds to allow our stations to identify themselves on the Oakland A's radio network. And here's Odor leading it off against Chris Bassett in the top of the second. A sun-splashed Thursday afternoon at the Coliseum. And Bassett throws to Odor and around Devont taken outside along with Vince Cotroneo and Ray Fosse. I'm Ken Korak. It's great to have you with us. It's the last Fosse day on A's radio anyway. But you'll be watching him and hearing him on Comcast the rest of the year. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's taken for a strike at the knees, and the count 1 ball 1 strike.
A-team tomorrow night.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You guys put your makeup on.
Yeah,
on the TV
right.
side.
Nothing like a Friday with Ray on TV on the A-team.
When's the last time the A's won a Friday game at home, Ray?
Last time, I think.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and bounced to the hole and threw into right center for a base hit as the A's second baseman Laurie went to his right. And Odor has a hit for the Rangers. That's their 4th hit already off Chris Bassett. He comes leading off in the second. That'll bring up Will Venable.
Batting in the 8th position, left fielder.
Always aggressive swinging is Odor, and he did second deck last night with a home run. And he lifts the leg. And one thing about the Rangers, a lot of the guys lift the front leg, get the foot down, and they put a charge in every swing they make. Swing hard and make contact. It really travels.
Would that affect anything as far as the pitcher is concerned and the way you would pitch them? Here's the pitch now, and Venable fouls it back 0-1.
The Louis Tiant hesitations where they put the foot down and they're still waiting for the pitch to come. Do something. Or they lift the leg, pitch him inside hard. Maybe flip them.
Yeah. You faced Louis and you caught him, right?
That's right.
So the count 0-1 with the Rangers leading 2-0. And Venable, who came over from the Padres, was born in the Bay Area. He's hitting at 185 and takes a strike, and the count 0-2. Well, tomorrow night the Giants come in here, and really good matchups over the weekend. Of course, the centerpiece being the Zito versus Hudson at 105 on Saturday. But tomorrow night, Mike Leake and Sonny Gray. Now the 0-2, and it's taken outside, 1 ball 2 strikes. And interesting, maybe a little bit of a sidebar story to the weekend with all the attention focused for good reason on the Big Three reunion. The fact that Mike Leake, who went to Arizona State and was a #1 pick of the Cincinnati Reds and then acquired by the Giants earlier this year. Here's Bassett's 1-2 pitch. And a long hold, he fires to Venable, swung on foul back with the Rangers leading 2-0. Is that the A's drafted Mike Leake out of high school. He was a great high school player, played a lot of positions, also pitched. And Leake went to Fallbrook High, which actually isn't that far from where Cole Hamels went to high school. He had already committed to going to Arizona State, but the A's, my understanding is the A's made him a very competitive offer. Here's the 1-2 delivery, off speed inside 2-2. So as we have the Big Three reunion, I guess you could think back and maybe the possibility that the A's could have had Sonny Gray and Mike Leake in the Athletics rotation. And after the A's made a good offer to Leake, he was committed to ASU, went there, and eventually had a great collegiate career for the Sun Devils. So 2 balls 2 strikes. And the pitch, and with the runner going, a ground ball to second, backhand by Laurie, turns, throws to first in time, and Venable is out. Odor goes to second. That's out #1 in the top of the second.
Okay, speaking of colleges, when the A's were in Cleveland, the Plain Dealer reported the day that Chris Bassett pitched that the University of Akron was eliminating baseball. The school that he went to, and I asked him about that. He said that would have been devastating. There's a lot of guys, but I guess they're going to honor the scholarships, but baseball, they're going to try to save $40 million, and baseball is no longer going to exist. And maybe they'll pull the University of California, Berkeley, where they were going to eliminate baseball after, the 2011 season, and they continue.
You could talk firsthand about that with Marcus Semien and Mark Canha. Here's the pitch taken for a strike on the inside corner. Of course, Bo Mel, a product of the Cal baseball program, and Chris Jimenez, he's from Gilroy. The garlic capital, and he's batting .260.
Did he bring any garlic up here? I mean, after all, have the family and friends bring up some garlic.
Yeah.
Get a nice aroma at the Coliseum.
So the 0-1 pitch with 1 out. And here's the stretch by Bassett, first base side of the rubber. The A's outfield a gap in left center. Whirling a bluff and a throw, and Odor had slipped, but he gets back to the bag at second before Laurie can apply the tag.
And it looked like he was going to try to steal third, and that's the inside move, which Bassett might have been a little shocked that he was off as far as he was. And if he made a quicker throw, probably would have gotten him, but it looked like Odor had thoughts of running.
Speaking of garlic, Ray, here's the delivery to Chris Jimenez.
Can't wait.
And Bassett ready. Here's a backward glance, a long hold, and comes to the plate. Jimenez swings and hits a soft line drive over the head of the leaping Laurie and a base hit. They're going to hold Odor over at third. Jimenez sounded like a broken bat. And Brett Laurie trying to time his leap, couldn't corral it. Odor had to wait to make sure the ball wasn't caught. Now the Rangers have runners at first and third. Right after our daughter Emily was born, we were living in Morgan Hill. And we'd be out in the backyard barbecuing in the fall, and you could smell the garlic coming up the valley from Gilroy. Of course, almost neighboring cities when you think about it, and with Gilroy just south of Morgan Hill.
Did you ever go to a garlic festival?
Oh, sure.
Got some good strawberries down in Watsonville in that area, too.
That's right.
Pick your own. Or not.
There's a lot of good stuff around the Golden State, right?
Absolutely.
Here's the pitch and around a bunt, and it's popped up foul to the right. Might have been a little bit of a safety squeeze action that time by Delino DeShields.
Always amazes me. Of course, the infield is in, but the number of sacrifice flies the Rangers put on the board on Tuesday. DeShields has speed, and first and third, the tough guy to double up anyway. Although with the infield in, now they're going to move back up the middle, but this kind of speed, the bunt sometimes is a little surprising.
So with Texas on top 2-0, they have runners at the corners, and Bassett throws, and DeShields swings and fouls it back, and the count 0-2. This guy, Rule 5 pick. So we've seen, you don't ordinarily see impact from Rule 5 picks, but for both those clubs, the A's can look at Canna, and of course the Rangers can look at Delino DeShields as Jimenez takes his lead off the bag at first with Canna holding over there. Here comes the 0-2. And it's on the way. Here it is. And just missed out and in with a fastball 94. And that's one of the things intriguing about Bassett. He has a big time arm.
Yes, he does. You know, that's why he probably said he'd like or would not be opposed to pitching out of the bullpen. I think pitchers in general would start or relieve just to get in the big leagues, whichever. But he knows he has a great fastball, and he can come in and just air it out for an inning or two.
But 35 pitches already today in his first start in a month. Here's the pitch, and it's swung on and hit to right center for a base hit, and that'll score Odor, and Jimenez goes to second, and the Rangers lead 3-0. Interesting, Jimenez kind of shot up a flare array like he was going to run down and try to steal second base. Then he stopped, but in seeing that, Laurie was over near the bag at second to cover. It wasn't a factor as Bassett hung a breaking ball on the inner half.
Well, it might have been a busted hit and run, because if Jimenez started and it was a hit and run, the kind of swing that DeShields had turned out to be a base hit, similar to what he did in the first inning, which would have been his last at bat in the first. But it's amazing. 3 hits already in this game that I think the Rangers should go look for wallets because things are falling in place for them nicely.
Make a side trip to Vegas on the way to Houston.
Do something.
So they have 6 hits. It's 3-0. And here's Chu, and he takes a changeup for a ball. They appeal to third, though, and on the appeal, Jordan Baker says yes.
And that was the appeal by the home plate umpire. More as a catcher, you have to do everything. Every time you think there's a possibility, ask for it because you might get it. That time it took the umpire to ask for the appeal.
Here's the 0-1 delivery. And swung on in a foul tip. Well, Carson Blair, this is on-the-job experience for a rookie catcher who began the year in Double-A.
Ryan Christensen, who managed the AA Midland team this year, talked about the number of Astros players who went from the Texas League to the big leagues. Correa, of course, was the main guy.
0-2.
David, of course, told you guys last night that if you're in AA, you're on the map.
That's right.
Well, it's an interesting comment, and that's a lot of truth to it. You always think of AAA being the next step to the big leagues, but I guess if you're good enough playing AA, which is competitive baseball, you're going to get a chance.
Here's the 0-2 with one out. Texas leading 3-0. They have 2 runners on base. And Bassett throws, and it's taken outside. There's some belief, and this is not always the case, that maybe, I'm not saying that the brand of baseball is better, but that there are more prospects in AA than AAA. Sometimes the AAA clubs are laden with veterans. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Off speed, foul back, and the count holds at 1-2.
Like an insurance league, if you will, guys that have had enough major league experience for a short-term need that major league clubs go into that team and out of their system and make the move.
Well, the A's have guys like Chad Pinder and Matt Olson and Renato Nunez. A lot of prospects with their Midland club that won the Texas League Championship again, back-to-back for them. A's best prospects certainly in single A and double A this year. Here's Bassett's 1-2 and foul back. And one of the issues the A's have had, Ray, and we've talked about this, just trying to get this season to the house.
Yeah.
Because it's been just so tough to get the starting pitchers to get deep into games. A's starters for the last 39 games are 6-20.
With a lot of earned runs. A lot of runs.
Now the 1-2 delivery with 2 runners on base and poke foul to the left. Meanwhile, the Rangers are locked in. You've got guys like Chu and Fielder back-to-back. Chu with a 372 on base and Fielder with a 376. And this guy, Chu, is playing like the player they really thought when they first got him. Thought they were getting. So 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Bassett's 1-2 on the way. Swung on a miss. Throws a fastball by him at 94. Good life away. And Chu strikes out. Second out. Fielder coming up.
Well, if Bassett wants to go deep in the game, that's what he did. Just fire the fastball and say try to hit it, because the pitch count's going to get him quicker than anything. Especially after fouling off 3 with a couple of strikes. Chu finally missed the good fastball.
So for Bassett, that's his second K. And here's Fielder standing in. Top of the second, 3-0 Rangers. Kind of a light card around the American League. And the closest pursuers to the Rangers are idle today, the Astros and the Angels. The Angels host the Mariners tomorrow night. And the Rangers at Houston. And the pitch to Prince is a breaking ball missed somewhere, I guess high, and Bassett didn't like it. And it's 1-0. Fielder 0 for 1 today. 1 for 11 on the series. He broke an 0 for 20 yesterday. The wild card is really a muddled picture right now. Really because of the Angels taking 2 out of 3 against the Astros. Now the pitch, and it's outside. 2-0. Jimenez at second, to Shields at first, a run in. Texas 2 in the first and 1 so far here in the second. But the Yankees have the top spot. The Astros the number 2 spot. But now the Twins are just a game behind Houston. And the Angels are a game and a half back. Now the 2-0 delivery, and Fielder fouls it back. The Angels finish the season in Arlington for 4.
And I'm sure Mike Scioscia and his team definitely looking forward to that. They'd like to be within reach, because the way it's going right now, this weekend series with the Rangers and the Astros is going to have a big impact on that next week, final week of the season.
Now, the Angels did some tweaking, and a lot of clubs do that this time of year. Garrett Richards, they're going to try to get him ready for the final game of the season if needed on 3 days rest. So Fielder at the plate, and Bassett, this will be pitch number 47. And here it is, and Prince hits a ground ball to the right side into the shift, taken by Laurie, flipped to first in time for the out. And for Chris Bassett, he keeps the damage down. Fielder bounces out. But Bassett's given up 3 runs through 2, and as the A's come up in the bottom of the second, it's 3-0 Texas. And 3-0 Rangers, you can start planning your 2016 spring training trip now, as A's home dates for games at Hohokam Park have been announced. You can enjoy a first-class experience, get an early glimpse at next year's squad at the A's all-new spring training venue in Mesa. And for more information, you can visit athletics.com/spring today. Valencia leads off in the second. First pitch, ground ball to third, and Beltre throws him out. One pitch, just like the bottom of the first, and Valencia is out 5-3. And that'll bring up Billy Butler against Cole Hamels. 3-time All-Star, MVP of the 2008 World Series. And what a phenomenal postseason he had. And this, Ray, as we watch Hamels pitch against the A's today, the final out of his no-hitter was almost a near no-hitter because of the catch by Odubel Herrera in center field at Wrigley as he stumbled on the warning track out there and almost didn't make the play. It was quite the dramatic ending to that no-no by Hamels. And there's a strike to Billy Butler, and it's no balls and 1 strike.
The no-no was almost a no-no. That's
right.
A good one.
The stumbling Odubel Herrera on the warning track. Here's Butler, and he takes low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. 3-0 in favor of the Rangers. It wasn't the first, it was Hamels' first no-hitter, but not the first one that he was actually part of. Here's the 1-1 pitch, off speed, down low, and 2-1. He actually started what turned out to be a combined no-hitter for the Braves on Labor Day a year ago, September 1st of 14 against the Braves in Atlanta. Butler, it's a ground ball deep short, and that'll be taken care of by Elvis Andrus, and Butler is out 6-3, 2 away. Hamels left after 6 innings in the combined no-no, and there was no chance he was going to go the distance in that game. It was a hot and humid evening in Atlanta. He had already thrown 108 pitches after 6. And one of the pitchers who came in out of the bullpen for him is currently in the Rangers pen, and he was part of the deal earlier this year with the Phillies and Texas, and that's the lefty Jake Diekman.
He should never give up a hit.
Man, he's tough.
Oh, the way he throws across his body and a good fastball.
Here's the pitch for a strike, and as you mentioned, that Reddick actually lined out to center against Diekman last night. Josh stands in the bottom of the second with Texas leading 3-0. And Reddick was saying today as he takes the ball, Ray, that with that crossfire action by Diekman, and he's throwing 96, 97, you see a pitch that you think's over the middle, and it's actually a foot outside. Reddick fouls it back to the right, and the count 1 ball, 2 strikes to Josh.
Well, you just have to make sure you keep the right side in. You figure he's going to pitch away because most left-handers are going to bail against him. But the way Diekman, it's like he's throwing from where the second baseman positions himself.
And Hamels with a 1-2, foul back by Josh. 2 out, nobody on. Bottom of the second, final game of the series. The Giants here tomorrow night. Here's the 1-2 delivery to Josh. Swung on and foul tip. Reddick has one at bat lifetime against Hamels in 2011 while Josh was playing for the Red Sox. He was 1 for 1.
What if he fouled the ball off his foot in that game just like he did here?
Well, he said actually he got the start against the lefty Hamels because the Red Sox had just let Mike Cameron go. And that's ball 2, 2-2 to Reddick with 2 out and nobody on. And he said that was a sign to him that the Red Sox felt that he would have a chance to play a little bit more as that season was progressing. And Mike Cameron let go by Boston. And the pitch to Josh is dribbled down the third base line, rolling, tough play, bare hand, and Beltre throws to first, not in time. So Beltre, the do-or-die chance, and really no chance to get Reddick, and threw the ball wide of the bag, and Moreland came off the bag. So Beltre, the perennial Gold Glover, unable to make the play, and Reddick has an infield single, and the A's have their second hit.
Makes up for the line drive he hit off Diekman last night to center field. He swing hard, hit it off the end of the bat, cue the ball down the third base line.
You know, Reddick said he didn't get a second at bat against Hamels in that game because Adrian Gonzalez hit a line shot later in the game up the middle that hit Hamels and literally knocked Hamels out of the game. So 2 out, and here's the former Ranger Jake Smolinski against Hamels. And Cole deals, and that's taken for a strike. You were part of a combined no-hitter authored by the A's against the Angels in 1975.
On the year that our daughter Nikki was born, the day that we clinched the Western Division, on this day in 1975. That was not the no-hitter, but it was pretty close because they're getting ready to play Boston.
Smolinski, ground ball foul left of the bag at third. Vida Blue was the A's pitcher that day, and he won his 21st game.
And he was just tuning up for postseason, so he pitched 5. We had 3 relievers, 2 catchers. So there's a whole bunch of different guys. But Nikki's birthday on this day will always be on the day that the A's clinched the division. It just gets to be a different year every year. But
something to remember.
Absolutely. Always remember it. The 24th of September.
Opening day is usually a pretty good day for you and your household.
Next year it will be.
Runner goes, and the pitch is taken low, and there's no throw, and Reddick uncontested steals second base. So the A's get Reddick in a scoring position with 2 out in the bottom of the second. Opening day being your wedding anniversary.
Right. Which will be next year. On
April 4th.
Yeah.
So Reddick steals second. One ball, 2 strikes to Jake Smolinski. And Hamels throws, and it's swung on and tap foul off speed from Hamels. Smolinski has 6 home runs. 5 of those have come with the A's. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And the good thing about Jake, he's had the opportunity to play against lefties and righties, and he's done a good job against both. He had 2 home runs in the one game against Minnesota. One, Tommy Malone stayed the game. He won against the right-hander later.
Here's the 1-2 delivery, and it's swung on and tap foul. Interesting story, too, about Hamels and his changeup, that he broke his arm while he was pitching in high school. And while he was coming back from the arm injury, that's when he said he really had to kind of further develop his repertoire. And he couldn't throw a lot of fastballs when he was first trying to come back. And that's when he really developed his changeup and learned how to pitch. The runner goes to third. It's taken for a ball. They appeal, and there's no swing, and Reddick steals third base. So Josh has stolen second and third here in the inning.
Because Maury Wills, it's still home.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but that's just.
Or if he was Jackie Robinson, Yogi Berra would dispute it.
That's right. Yes. And he would be called safe anyway.
So 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 outs. So Reddick over at third, and the pitch by Hamels, and it's taken low and outside, and a full count, 3-2. Check the numbers, Ray, on Reddick, as he's gotten to 10 steals for the year.
And that's why right now you'd like to see a wild pitch, pass ball, infield base hit, something that would say thank you for those 2 stolen bases uncontested and put the runner at third base.
And now Hamels delivers, and it's swung on, hit to center field, but it's going to hang up. DeShields a long run. He's there, and he drops it. DeShields dropped the ball. And Reddick scores for third, and the A's are on the board. It's 3-1 in favor of Texas. Not the same type of ball, but there was a day game in 2012 in which somewhat famously a Rangers center fielder dropped the ball.
That was a Wednesday. This is a Thursday, but a big one nonetheless. And a base hit is given to Smolinski.
I think that's an E8, Ray.
But he had a long run.
Well, Smolinski's not going to give it back.
No, he's not.
He had to reach just above his belt to try to catch it.
So it's an RBI, and the A's trail 3-1. And Simeon takes a breaking ball inside 1-0. So 1 ball and no strikes. Now they changed it.
Now Smolinski will be back.
That takes away the run batted in. And here's the 1-0 pitch, and take it inside in the count 2-0. You had your own little encounter with Yogi Berra on a famous play at the plate in the 1973 World Series.
I still give Augie Donatelli a lot of credit because he was in the correct position to make the call. And he made the correct call.
Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way, and that's taken outside by Simeon, or plate umpire got me, I think, Paul Emmel. So the count 2-1 to Marcus. He's riding a 7-game hitting streak, and during that time he's 9 for 25 and 287 for his last 41 games. Hamels' 2-1 pitch is foul back, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Valencia bounced out, Butler bounced out, Reddick singled, stole second, stole third. Smolinski the E8. Here's the play at the plate, and the disputed play with Bud Harrelson and Yogi coming running out of the dugout. Willie Mays was on deck. Was it Yogi who got tossed?
Nobody got tossed.
Oh, really? I thought Augie tossed somebody.
No, he was just emphatically saying he got it. But if you watch that closely, Augie Donatelli, the home plate umpire, was literally laying down on his stomach, looking right down the line. And he saw the uniform of Bud Harrelson move ever so slightly, which would indicate that I tagged him.
Your narrative will never change on that story.
Why? I know I tagged him. So bottom line, Augie saw it. I did it.
It's still a great story either way. And there's the ball in the count 3-2.
The call stands.
The call stands.
That's right.
We just asked Howie Rose now with the Mets. I mean,
he's not happy. Still not.
40 years later, he's not happy.
Voice of the Mets on radio.
Yeah. But he was a fan of the Mets. That's how special that was. And then watched the game, and then first close contact with Bud Harrelson, who never felt it, but Augie saw it.
Here's the 3-2 pitch, swung on a miss, and Simeon is down on a strike, so he Ks. But the A's get on the board on the E8. Reddick plated from third, and after 2 complete, the Rangers lead the A's by the count of 3-1. runs, 6 hits, and error. And the Athletics have a run on 2 hits and no errors. And as we go to the third, here's Vince.
Adrian Beltre will start things off. Beltre, who was a hero again last night against Felix Doubront with a home run in the 5th inning. It was a 3-run shot, helping Texas win 10-3. We'll start things here in the top of the 3rd against Chris Bassett, and then Mitch Moreland and Elvis Andrus. Beltre smash off the glove of Valencia into left field for an RBI single in the 1st. And he takes up and in, ball 1. 48 pitches from Chris Bassett, who is on a pitch count today. He needs some early contact and some quick outs. A long and lean right-hander peers in to Blair, and he comes to the plate, and a fastball down, ball 2. Beltre, who's 5 for 10 of the series, and Felix Doubront probably would love to send a limo for Beltre to get him out of town since he's hit 3 home runs against him in the course of his last 2 starts against the Rangers. Here's a 2-0, a strike on the outside corner, 2-1.
And I don't remember any one of the 3 being cheap. I mean, they one of the back of the A's bullpen in Arlington, then the one to right center, and the non-jet stream anymore in Arlington.
Here comes the 2-1. It's a slider outside, 3 balls and a strike. Beltre, the undisputed leader of this team, does it with a smile on his face.
Don't touch his hair, though.
Don't touch the head. Yeah. Stay away from the head. Mitch Moreland will be next for the Rangers. Here's a 3-1. Foul back by Beltre. He was not with Texas when they went to their first World Series in 2010. And third base was manned by their longtime favorite player there, Michael Young. Then he joined the team in 2011, and he was a star in that postseason for the Rangers as they lost to the Cardinals. 3-2 pitch, swung on, hit grounded behind third, picked up by Valencia. Long throw across, and Beltre's retired, swinging at a pitch that potentially could have knocked the sunglasses off his face as it came up and in, and he tomahawked it to Valencia.
That is unbelievable that he could make that kind of contact on a pitch that almost hit him.
This is the same guy that hit a home run with one knee on the ground, so good explosive movement up and in on Beltre. Here's Moreland. He struck out his first time up. First time today that Bassett's been able to retire the leadoff man. Moreland with 4 hits in the series, including a home run. Got 23 on the year. That ties his career best. Swings at a fastball up and away. Strike 1.
Trying to break his tie, too, with that swing. Yeah, he swings hard. And, of course, in a day game, ball carries much better. I don't think Moreland needs any help any place, the way he has the power to hit about any part of the park.
A's shift on him. 3 infielders on the right side. Here's the 0-1. Fouled off behind the plate. And it's 0-2. Moreland still can't really get around that well, recovering from ankle surgery, so they keep him at first base. And when they faced left-handers recently, although not yesterday, but when they faced lefties recently, they've used Mike Napoli out in left field, and not Moreland, who had outfield experience earlier with Texas in his career. And now Moreland steps out momentarily. Oakland trailing 3-1 here in the 3rd. And Bassett with the 0-2. Fastball lifted out of play behind third base. Another foul ball from Chris. Good life. And you just wonder, Ray, has he not pitched since late August, almost exactly a month. The velocity certainly is there, but in terms of the command of being able to finish off hitters, it's just been a challenge so far today. 0-2 the count. And Chris fires, and he's upstairs with the next pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Valencia alone on the left side of the infield. They have shifted Simeon over to the other side. There was a time recently where the A's in the shift kept Simeon on the left side and put Valencia on the right side. Changeup was low to Moreland, ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. But Bob Melvin, in concert with Ron Washington, have readjusted it back to keeping the third baseman on the left side of the infield. Laurie out in shallow right. And the 2-2. It's a slider low, kicks away from Blair, fills the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Moreland with 4 home runs against the A's this year. Texas in the middle of the pack in home runs in the league. They're not the sluggers that the Blue Jays or the Astros are. They hit enough. Use a lot of different weapons offensively. 3-2 pitch. He chased one off the plate outside at 93. And Moreland has gone on strikes. Third K for Bassett. Good movement. And here comes Elvis Andrus. It really has been a pleasant surprise for the A's from Chris Bassett, from the guy they saw struggling in spring training, struggling in the bullpen, then coming back in late June and providing some quality innings.
Especially have that kind of fastball, and to get a hitter to go out of the strike zone. Beltre did it, and now Moreland, and get 2 big outs.
Now Andrus looks at a curve, and that one drops in softly for a strike. He's down 3-1 here in the third. Andrus popped up behind the plate his only time up. Chris looking to put up his first 0 of the day. And his 0-1. Swing and a miss. Came back with another breaking ball to back it up. Get a swing and a miss. Puts him ahead at 0-2. Andrus frustrated with himself. Steps all the way off the dirt. Tries to regroup.
And why doesn't the umpire tell him to get back on the batter's box?
Exactly. Well,
I mean, seriously. Nobody on base. He swing and miss. No contact. And yet Paul Emmett just stand there looking at him.
Outfield the other way at Andrus. Bassett trying to close out the third, and a fastball is above the belts. And missing high. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
They're supposed to.
That's right.
It's exactly what the umpire is supposed to do.
Exactly.
Always have 1 foot in the box. Yeah. And Bassett with the 1-2 pitch. Way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. His injury came at a time where the A's were already reeling in the rotation, knowing that Jesse Hahn was done for the year with a forearm issue, and then the oblique strain for Kendall Graveman shut him down for the rest of the year. 2-2 fastball just inside. No call from Paul Emmel as the entire infield shifted toward the dugouts. And that fills the count of 3-2. And Chris trying to maintain his calm on what he thought was an excellent pitch on the inside corner. Now the payoff. Outside, ball 4. And so Andrus draws the walk, keeps the inning going, and Rougned Odor comes to the plate. Chris knows that, you know, the clock is ticking today. His bullpen is quiet at the moment. Down 3-1. Odor singled and scored in the second. 9 home runs last year and 15 this year for this youngster.
Bullpen heard you. Somebody did, because they're starting to move.
Toss over to first base to keep Andrus close. Andrus does have 21 steals. He's been caught 8 times. And the A's are going to get Dan Otero up and loosening in their pen. Odor with an open stance on the left side. And the first pitch to Odor is a strike. It's 0-1. He is in the category you just never know when they're going to tap you on the shoulder and get an opportunity. As Otero continues to get loose, he was the youngest player in the big leagues last year. He's 21. He'll turn 22 next February. With all the injuries to Jerks and Profar, this kid has made the most of his chances. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and fouled at the plate on a slider. And he's down in the count 0-2.
And considering the second baseman they gave up, and Ian Kinsler, to get Prince Fielder, very good second baseman, power hitter.
Leadoff guy.
Odor's done the same thing. And probably they were just happy to let him play defense, and whatever they got offensively was a bonus, but he's really contributed more offensively.
Another toss back to first. There are Odors all over professional baseball. Ruglis is a hitting coach at AA with Cleveland. Ruglis is an uncle who played minor league baseball in the Cleveland and Milwaukee organizations. And Rougned Odor playing today for the Rangers. Shortstop Simeon really shading up the middle. Long look in by Bassett. Odor stays in the box, and now Chris comes to the set. And an 0-2 with Andrus going is swung on and fouled back. And we'll do it again at 0-2. Clayton Kershaw starting today for the Dodgers. Their magic number at 5 after their victory last night and the Giants loss, but they're behind 3-0 at home against Arizona. Brandon Drury has hit another home run for the Diamondbacks, his second since being called up. Baltimore leading Washington 1-0 in the bottom of the second. Here 3-1 Texas. They're trying to sweep the series against the A's. Here's the 0-2. This time the runner holds. Is hit on the ground to the right of the second baseman. Stumbling and falling as Laurie picks it up. Throws late to first on a bounce. And Odor is safe, and so's Andrus. That'll be an error charge to Brett Laurie, his 23rd of the year, as he moved to his right, then lost his footing and couldn't recover.
Good opportunity there to try to backhand a ball that he did get in front of, but when he did, he stumbled a little bit, but the stumble hurt him.
I wonder if he was trying to position his body in a way that he was going to try to catch it and shovel it to Semien at second to go the short way. Just never got it clean. And Odor has good speed, so a chance here for the Rangers to still capitalize. The inning is extended, and here comes Will Venable. Rounded to second, his only time up. Left-hand batter takes low, ball one. And so now 71 pitches on the day for Bassett, and this will likely be his last inning if he can close it out. Chris taking a lot of time, rubbing up the baseball, trying to gather his thoughts. Now looks into Blair. A glance back at the runner at second base, and his pitch. The slider catches the inside corner. Evens the count at a ball and a strike on Venable. Jesse Hahn has been playing a little bit of light catch, so has Kendall Graveman. Even Jared Parker has begun a light throwing program. 1-1 pitch grounded up the middle and right at Semien. The shortstop has it, goes to second, forces Odor, and the inning is over. So Bassett grinds through, putting a 0 on the board against Texas. On to the bottom of the third, rather. Cole Hamels back to work. A's trailing 3-1. Texas as we go to the bottom of the third on a warm day here in the East Bay, as Carson Blair and Billy Burns and Mark Canha all step in against Cole Hamels, who was very Hamels-like in his last outing with 12 strikeouts in the victory against Seattle, his fourth as a member of Texas and his 10th overall. Texas has won his last 7 starts as he goes to work against the A's rookie catcher out of Argyle, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. And he takes a strike on the outside corner. Carson's first major league home run was against the Rangers at Globe Life Park against the rookie lefty Andrew Faulkner. Always have that memory. Here's the 0-1. Fastball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. A's do face 3 right-handers this weekend against the San Francisco Giants. And there is hope that maybe Stephen Vogt can catch one or more of those games for the A's. 1-1 pitch, swung on, hit on the ground on the right side. Odor has it at second on to first, and that retires Blair. Congratulations to Stephen. Got another award today, the Catfish Hunter Award, which I know is very near and dear to your heart, Ray.
It's one of the best in so many different ways, but
this is like a landslide for Vogt, too, right?
Well, deserving. I mean, it's everything that he does, both on the field and off the field. And you're talking about Stephen would like to catch, and just think, he wants to catch Sonny Gray tomorrow night. That's a pretty nasty slider to try to block consistently, and so we'll see what happens then. But he wants to get back behind the plate.
Dave Stewart here today as Stephen picked up his Dave Stewart Award for community service. Billy Burns stands in, takes ball one. We're in the bottom of the third. A's down 3-1. Billy bounced to third base his only time up. And the 1-0 pitch. Swung on line, foul past first base, heading toward the Ranger bullpen.
Clay Thompson will be throwing out the ceremonial first pitch before the game on Saturday.
Not Trace?
The brother of Trace. Yeah, that's a pretty good, pretty athletic family there.
We saw Clay quite a bit after the Warriors season was over, or right at the end of it. He'd come and sit down in the box seats, watch the A's with his A's cap on. 1-1 pitch, hit foul off to the right side again by Burns, and he's behind 1-2.
Might be the most, I guess, telling appearance by him when he walked down the stairs. I guess there was a concussion issue at the time. And they said he's okay. He's eating nachos behind the A's dugout. So he'll be fine for the playoffs, the NBA Finals.
Switch pitcher Pat Venditti loosening in the A's bullpen now. And a curveball from Hamels. Swung on, foul back by Burns. There's been some discussion that since Hamels came to the American League that he has really upped the number of breaking balls. He's a fastball, curve, cutter, change guy. Changing leagues. Sometimes they say you've got to make some adjustments. 1-2 pitch way inside, and that one was thrown behind Burns, and Cole Hamels off by a wide margin that time with ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. He's only walked 16 men, so he's got pretty good control, and you don't normally see him spike one like that. He has a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the third. Billy switch hitter batting from the right side. Outfield shallow around the other way with the exception of Venable and left. There's a 2-2. Check swing on a cutter inside. Did he go? The answer is no on the appeal. So 3 balls and 2 strikes. Andy Fletcher palms down. Mark Cano waiting on deck. And the payoff pitch inside again, and the A's get some speed aboard with Burns. If he can get into the head of Cole Hamels, his first walk allowed today as Mark Canha comes to the plate.
2 things to look for Billy Burns in the future: bunting more and walking more. And you combine those 2 with what he's already doing with the hits, and he's going to be an impact player for this ball club. And I mean, he already has been this year in his rookie season, but a lot of things he has not done.
He's still learning.
He is a rookie and still very young.
Now Mark Canha stands in. Hamels stretches and comes to the plate. Delivers a changeup and a good one over the outside corner.
Well, a lot of credit to Ricky Henderson, too, the Hall of Famer, who, when he's in town, constantly working with Billy Burns, trying to convince him, don't be afraid to get thrown out. Get the big lead, get the speed, utilize it.
Yes, stepped away a large lead at first, being held on by Mitch Moreland. He draws a throw from Hamels. He took a little bit of a half step towards second, and Hamels read that, and maybe it allowed Billy to read a little bit of the move of the veteran lefty.
Well, the front leg's the key. Reddick went on first move by Hamels last inning when he stole.
And so did Mark Canha when the ball was fouled away by Brett Laurie in the first inning. Long look at first base. A slow lift of the leg and a fastball outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. You can see that Billy Burns has some of the attention of Cole Hamels right now.
Exactly.
And this is still with a left-hander on the mound. And Billy steps away a couple of inches further.
And especially after Reddick stole 2 bases earlier in the game.
Here's the 1-1. Down and away again. 2 balls and a strike. Now, all the discussion about Cole Hamels potentially being traded by the Phillies, and he was a coveted arm by a number of teams, already under contract for several more years, made him attractive. And he actually turned down the Astros and agreed to a deal to come to Texas. He spent a lot of time researching the organization. His wife has family in the Dallas area. 2-1 pitch, swung on grounder right back to Hamels. He throws to second for one, and Odor on to first for two, and they turn it 1-6-3. And just like that, the A's promise in the bottom of the third comes to a close as Hamels gets the job done. We're through 3 at the O.co, and the Rangers lead the A's 3-1. Top of the fourth inning from the Coliseum, and Bob Melvin, because of the pitch count, has gone to the bullpen, and the switch pitcher Pat Venditti comes on in relief. In a season with not a lot to get excited about, Pat Venditti's been a good story for the Athletics. Since coming up from AAA, the 21 innings of work, or 22 innings of work rather, in 21 games, a 1-2 record, a 5.24 ERA, somewhat deceiving. He's had a couple of rough outings, but by and large he's been effective for the A's. And now he'll face Chris Jimenez, Delano DeShields, and Shin-Soo Choo, right, and left, which means Pat will pitch right, and left. That's kind of how it works. And his first pitch over the inside corner on Jimenez, strike one. Chris Bassett, 3 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. And Ray, I mean, he came back, he showed he was healthy. I think that's a step in the right direction, building up some endurance. 0-1, breaking ball, taken low. Will likely get another opportunity before the season is over.
Well, that'd be great for him to go in the offseason. And when it did happen, he's put on the disabled list, or at least shut down. It's because of precautionary measures, which is a good idea with a young pitcher to make sure, and he has proven he's okay.
I think he elevated his status this year.
Absolutely.
1-1 pitch, sweeps outside, ball 2, 2 balls and a strike. You think about Venditti and the A's first spring training game this year down in the Valley of the Sun against the Giants. And he pitched, got a guy out right-handed and the guy out left-handed, just like he said he could, just like the bio said he could. And really the foundation was laid for what was going to be a good opportunity for him. Fastball strike on the outside corner, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Even to the point throughout this season, remember Buck Showalter asked, listen, can you put this left-handed, his left arm on a 60-day deal and keep his right arm okay?
Only Buck would ask.
Only Buck would ask
that question.
Yeah. But he's created a lot of interest from a lot of people throughout baseball.
2-2. Missed off the plate outside. Another fastball. Fills the count of 3 balls and 2 strikes.
It brings up a good point, too, because when he was hurt earlier this year and on the DL, of course, it was just one arm that was hurt. And people were asking, well, why does he have to go on the DL? He could pitch with the other arm. But it's all kind of intertwined.
3-2's line toward right. It's over Laurier in front of Reddick, and Josh to his right gets to it, plays it back in. And Jimenez aboard with a leadoff single as the Rangers remain relentless against the A's. 7 hits now. And that'll bring Delano DeShields to the plate.
Now batting, number 7.
Took the sliders, got a fastball 3-2. This time hit it hard.
And when he went on to the disabled list with the shoulder issue, after making just 4 appearances for the A's, including his final one against Texas back on June 10th, going 2 1/3, he felt at the time that he may have retorn the shoulder, the right shoulder that he had injured earlier in his career in the Yankees minor league system that did require surgery. Toss back to first to keep Jimenez close.
He said, I can't just go pitch with the other arm because that's going to affect my mechanics and it's going to cause some problems over there too.
DeShields 2 hits, a run scored, and an RBI today. Another toss back to first. Jimenez not going anywhere on his own, but maybe the A's sniffing out the possibility of a play put in action by the first-year manager Jeff Bannister. Valencia up on the grass at third base. Delano does have 11 bunts this year for hits. He takes a fastball on the inside corner, strike 1. And you think about this Ranger team and how they got to the top of the American League West, and this guy DeShields is a key part of it because they had Leonis Martin out there for the past couple of years, and this kid's a Rule 5 selectee, and he just kind of played himself into a position where the manager liked him more, and he responded with production. And basically won over the position for a pennant contender. Here's the 0-1. He shows bunt, takes inside on a breaking ball, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Last time Texas was in the postseason was the play-in game against Tampa Bay in 2012, and they lost that game against David Price 5-1. Prior to that, the previous 2 years, 2010 and 2011, the American League representative at the World Series, trying to get back. Turning a throw back to first. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by the beautiful Waterfront Hotel in Oakland's Jack London Square. Visit www.waterfronthoteloakland.com and enter the promo code baseball to save on your next stay. Arizona and the Dodgers bottom of the 5th, and the D-backs lead that game 3-2 as a curve misses outside onto Shields. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Colorado leading Pittsburgh, that's at Coors, and it's a 3-2 lead for the Rockies in the bottom of the 6th. Baltimore 1-0 over Washington, bottom of the 3rd. Mets tonight with a magic number 5 at Cincinnati, and Minnesota 1 game back hosting Cleveland tonight. Gibson against Anderson. 2-1 pitch, high fly ball, left center field. Back a few strides in the alley is Burns. He'll camp and make the catch, and back to first base goes Jimenez as DeShields is retired for the first out. Now Shin-Soo Choo. How do you think it's going to play out, Ray? I don't think anybody really knows at this point.
I don't think anybody does. I really don't. I think the wild card is creating a lot of interest. Actually, both wild cards, but the number of teams. Of course, in the National League, it's very simple. There's 3 teams in the Central that go into postseason. Just a matter of where they're going to play the wild card game. So they'll require division winners in the East and the West. The American League, though, other than the Central, which is Kansas City running away from that, everything else pretty wide open.
New York leading the wild card. 4 games better than Houston, who has the 2nd spot. They're 1 game ahead of Minnesota and a game and a half ahead of the Angels. Venditti left on left, and Chu swings the first pitch and skies it in a shallow left behind third base. Angling out of Simeon, the shortstop, a long run, and he can't get it. It bounces off his glove. Turns, tries to throw back to second, and they get the force on Jimenez. What a break for the Athletics and a saving play for Simeon. After the ball bounced out of his glove, he was able to recover and throw back to second base. But Jeff Bannister, the manager of Texas, not convinced that the play was completed with the force out at second base, going just a standard 6-4.
And really, Smolinski could have caught that ball.
Yeah.
Left fielder coming in, it's his ball.
Marcus did go out and put his hands up and indicate that he was going to take it. But still, I agree with you that as an outfielder, it's much easier. You don't have to fight the sun as much. Come in and emphatically call off the infielder, and they turned out that was a great play because nice stretch by Laurie and even better throw by Simeon.
And they decide they're not going to go to replay, so the A's do complete the out, 6-4. Now fielder's choice for Chu at first base. 2 outs now. Here comes Fielder. He's still down 3-1 in the 4th. Well, communication has been just a huge issue all year for the Athletics with the defense. First pitch a curve. The fielder stays inside, ball 1. I mean, they have 115 errors for a reason. And all the different combinations the A's have tried to use. And a lot of that has caused some difficulty in who's going to take charge. Here's the 1-0. Swung on, lifted behind third. That's going to drift toward the seats and no play into the crowd. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
I thought it was interesting for a while when Zobrist was injured with the knee surgery. Sogard was playing every day at second base. He and Semien started working together, and you could see some things happening there. That unfamiliarity early became plays, similar plays that were errors before, became big outs. And now with the shift back and forth of Laurie to second, Valencia to third, Sogard to short occasionally. It's changed everything. Like you said, it's unfamiliarity for a lot of different positions.
Sure, Cannon left and Smolinski in left.
And hope next spring that when this whole club goes to spring training, there will be some steady play by the position players.
1-1 pitch, check swing by Fielder, and he went around for the strike, and it's 1-2. This is the best spot right now for Venditti. The switch pitchers had so much more success left on left. Just 4 for 36. But the A's still like the option that he can, match up and give the A's more than just that situational one at bat in a particular inning. Look at first base to the plate, and a slider sweeps outside for ball 2.
And that's a great point, Vinny, because under normal circumstances, the first 5 months of the season, when you're limited with a 25-man roster, that's where you need, because teams will position left, right, and sometimes it's a one batter appearance.
You mean like Bruce Bochy last night with the Giants, using 10 pitchers last night?
He's got 19 on his staff.
2-2 pitch, way inside, 3 balls and 2 strikes. He used 10 pitchers, and 6 of the pitchers used last night pitched to 1/3 of an inning or less.
That's incredible.
That's got to be addressed. Well, not picking on the Giants, just picking on September.
Everybody, yeah. I mean, even the A's have 18 pitchers on the staff. And we're going to see the Giants over the weekend with 19, so maybe see that again.
3-2, swing and a miss. A sweeping slider finishes off Prince Fielder, and Venditti puts up a 0 in the top of the 4th inning. No runs to hit, a man left. Venditti gets the job done, and we go to the bottom of the 4th. Texas still in front, 3-1. Bottom of the 4th inning, Brett Lawrie starts things for the Athletics, down by 2 against Cole Hamels. and Danny Valencia and Billy Butler. Lowry bouncing into a double play is first time up. And the pitch inside, ball one.
It's like when Hamels pitches, the infielders have to be on their toes. All ground ball out so far today, with the exception of strikeouts.
And Hamels is an extreme ground ball pitcher. Over the top with the motion and the pitch. Way inside, darts with the cutter. 2 balls and no strikes on Lowry. Keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.com Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widgets, and more. Visit MLB.tv today. As Lowry takes ball 3 outside. And speaking of pennant races, first the Royals announced that Wade Davis is their closer into the postseason. Then they just announced today, as the 3-0 is inside on Lowry for ball 4, that Greg Holland is now out for the year. He's got an elbow issue and he will not pitch anymore for the defending American League champions. Bad timing for the Royals. And the other side of that too is, while the Royals have had this season where they basically clinched at the All-Star break, they've got a 10-game lead on Minnesota. Their magic number is at 2, but the magic number for home field advantage, or their lead on home field advantage for the postseason over Toronto, is down to a slim 2 games. Hamels goes back to first, keeping Lowry close.
Holland could be looking at Tommy John surgery too.
It's amazing. But Wade Davis can step right in. Not a bad guy to close out games.
And even if he went down, I mean, Kelvin Herrera throws 1,000 miles an hour. Even not the ninth inning experience, but still. A pitch, a strike in on Valencia. He takes a changeup from Hamels. Jorge Alfaro, Nick Williams, Jake Thompson, Jared Eichhoff, Alec Asher, and Matt Harrison all went to the Phillies, as Cole Hamels and Jake Diekman came the other way from Philadelphia to Texas. Fastball popped up first base side near the Ranger dugout and over and back into the box seats. A couple of rows, make that about 8 or 9 rows back, and it's 0-2.
Like Ray was saying, Diekman is really tough, so all the focus on the trade was on Hamels, but Diekman has really helped turn the Rangers bullpen around.
You could probably make the case that that has been the difference between the Rangers and the Astros, that the Rangers changed their bullpen midstream, and Houston basically stood with who they've had all year with the money they spent going into the season with guys like Pat Neshek and Luke Gregerson, and watching Will Harris step up in some key situations for them.
The Astros bullpen has 8 losses this month.
And they are off today and stewing with their spot. A swing and a shot towards second. Flag down by Odor to his left. Goes to Andrews for 1. And back to first for 2. Third double play today, executed behind Cole Hamels. 4-6-3. And that empties the bases for Billy Butler.
It's already 10 ground ball outs. 3 double plays helps, but I mean, put a runner on base and get excited, and then there you go with a double play. We'll see if Bob Melvin, if he gets a base runner, starts thinking hit and run. Because if you have a ground ball pitcher, you can maybe stay out of a double play by putting the runner in motion.
He's down by 2 here in the 4th. And now Butler, a bouncing ball to short, his first time up. And Hamels to the plate and deals a strike. Another changeup. And it's 0-1. Fernando Rodriguez loosening in the A's bullpen. Bassett for 3 and Venditti for 1 so far for the Athletics. A 1 pitch. A strike called, and it's 0-2. The Giants coming to town this weekend. A lot of people pointing toward the Saturday Zito Hudson matchup, but Sonny Gray tomorrow for the A's against Mike Leake opens up the series. Sean Nolan and Chris Heston will close out the home portion of the 2015 season for the A's on Sunday. Butler fouls back a slider, and it's 0-2. Fernando continuing to get ready for the A's in their left field bullpen.
The big 3 on the field before the game on Sunday.
0-2 pitch. Ran it inside with a fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's our understanding that both radio and television will visit a bit on Sunday with Mark Mulder. Should be fun. Have Mark on the air with us.
He's pretty good on the air.
1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, grounded foul. Pretty good on the golf course as well. And Butler's still in there at a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, it's nice that all 3 are going to be here, all 3 families, everybody, and so it's very nice. And now all 3 are married. When they were pitching, that was not the case. Only Tim Hudson of the three was married.
And the 1-2. Fastball. Oh, it did catch the inside corner. A bullet at 94 from Cole Hamels, and Butler is gone. Looking quite a masterful performance so far by Cole Hamels. On to the top of the fifth. 3-1 Texas. Texas, Fernando Rodriguez on the mound, and once again, here's Ken.
Rangers have 7 hits. The A's have a couple so far, and Beltran, Moreland, and Andrus for the Rangers against the A's right-hander Fernando Rodriguez, who comes out of the bullpen with a mark of 4-2 and a 4.08 ERA, making his 51st appearance. The last time we saw Fernando was in Houston over the weekend. He pitched on the 19th. He allowed 2 hits and 3 runs, working 1 inning out of the A's pen. So the hard-throwing righty, who's come back from Tommy John surgery, goes to work on Adrian Beltre in the 5th inning. And Beltre has singled and bounced out. He's 5 for 11 on the series. An absolutely gorgeous day at the Coliseum. Just some filmy clouds above the ballpark. Mostly blue skies. And Rodriguez delivers, and Beltre pops it up back of the plate, and that's going to be out of play just below us here. Rangers lead the Astros by 3 games, and the Angels 4.5 back.
And the Astros have been looking for help from the A's for 3 games. This being the 3rd game, and Angels took care of them, and they were hoping for help, but A's have not been able to offer much in the first 2.
And that really irks the skipper, Mr. Melvin. Here's the 0-1 pitch, and that's taken a strike. Fastball in 94. He is so competitive, and we've talked about it, Ray.
Yeah.
Don't tell him what the record is, and don't tell him that the games don't matter as far as the A's are concerned, because they really do.
Absolutely. And they should, for every team, every manager, every player, right down to the end.
Here's the 0-2 delivery to Adrian Beltre, and Beltre takes low, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. He has a very even-keeled demeanor. He's a gentleman. He's the consummate professional, Melvin. But he has an intense, burning desire to win.
You know, the one thing that, as far as outwardly, you never see him show his displeasure when things do not happen the right way.
Here's the pitch to Beltre, and he hits a ground ball to short. Simeon 2 steps to his left, up and throwing to first, and a good stretch by Canna, and Beltre is out 6-3 for the first out.
And I think that's a quality of a good manager, because from the player standpoint, you never know. I mean, you can make a mistake, but he's not going to show you up on the field or on the bench by acting a certain way or reacting a certain way. And you know, it's just a class gesture on his part. And you're right, he's feeling it inside, but you never know that by looking at him down on the bench when not so good things happen.
But he will do some things in private.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way they should be. And that's and the players appreciate that it is done in privacy versus out where everybody can see.
So here's Mitch Moreland, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. The A's shift the infield for Moreland and a pitch outside. We were talking last night on the radio side, Ray, about Ron Washington and his tenure as the manager of the Rangers, and of course the back-to-back World Series appearances, and how much he relied on his veterans and how important guys like Beltre. And the pitch to Moreland is outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Because you need veteran leadership on your club. You could have Connie Mack as your manager, but you've got to have veterans who really buy into the program. 2-0. And here's the pitch to Moreland by Fernando Rodriguez. And here's the set and the pitch. And that's taken inside in the count 3-0. By the way, go ahead, Ray. I'm sorry.
I'm just taking a deep breath.
I was going to mention that we got a wonderful email just a couple of minutes ago from the great Monty Moore, who's watching the broadcast and enjoying the simulcast at his home with his wife down in Porterville. Here's the pitch and taken for a strike, and the count 3 balls and 1 strike.
Monty and Dion Moore, of course. Monty, the great one, the broadcaster, had the K-Tip Golf-A-Rama for many, many years, raising a lot of money for the Porterville youth sports programs, and he's really meant a lot to the city of Porterville.
And he's a great gentleman. Here's a 3-1 pitch by Fernando Rodriguez, and that's ball 4 low. So Moreland is on base with 1 out in the 5th inning. He's on for the first time today.
I wanted to ask Monty sometime because there's a gentleman in town doing a documentary on the late Emmett Ashford, who was the first African-American umpire who broke the color barrier for umpires. And I was looking at it. I think there was a team in Porterville because it mentioned that he had done some umpiring, refereeing or something in Porterville. And I meant to ask Monty about that. And I'm sure Monty very well aware because of Emmett Ashford coming to the American League in the late 60s.
I think Emmett Ashford also worked in the Coast League.
Yes, well, no, a lot in the Coast League. Many, many years in the Coast League before he got called to the big leagues.
Here's Elvis Andrus at the plate with 1 out and 1 on, and a swing and a foul tip by Andrus. 3-1 in favor of the Rangers here in the top of the 5th. And Emmett did a lot of basketball refereeing. But you're right about Monty's golf tournament. That was a lot of fun. He used to have it in October around the time of the World Series. With the former big league ball player Tex Clevenger was also part of that down in Porterville.
And he would get the players from all over the country, all teams represented, it seemed, and a big turnout of players to come in to play golf.
Now the 0-1 delivery by Fernando Rodriguez, and that's taken for a strike by Andrus, a fastball 0-2. Monty's just been a wonderful inspiration, I know, to both of us, Ray, and Vince as well. He's a class act.
My first broadcast partner.
That's right. While you were still a player.
On the disabled list. That's the great Charlie Finley. I use players when they're on the disabled list or pitchers when they're not pitching. They will be my color analyst for the Monty Moore.
Here's the 0-2 delivery now. Elvis at the plate, and Fernando turns and deals, and that's taken just outside 1-2.
How different did the game look to you the first time you came up here, Ray?
I realized it was easy. Didn't realize there was as much work as it turned out to be. I mean, but I knew I was going to play. I was going to go back off the disabled list.
Just seeing how the game evolved, or just a different perspective, and it's not nearly as fast up here as it is down on the field.
Oh, absolutely. No, it definitely slows down up here.
The pitch to Elvis is swung on, hit foul down the right side, out of play. So 1 out, 1 on. We're in the top of the 5th inning.
One thing I always realized, whether it's in Cleveland when I first signed watching the game, when you sit up here, I mean, you could notice a lot of things that players down there maybe don't notice. And that's why I think when we have a high robotic camera here on the TV side, you can see the whole field. A lot of times at home plate, you can see guys opening up, pitches outside. But I think it's a great learning experience from this elevation to be able to watch a game and just see how everything does evolve.
So the pitch to Andrus by Rodriguez. He's a right-handed hitter, and the 1-2 delivery. Fernando sets, ready, and throws, and it's swung on and fouled back.
Still a hard game. Yeah. Very, very hard game, no matter where you sit and watch. And I'm sure fans looking out and say, well, you know, why didn't he catch that? Why didn't he do certain things? But I think Billy Burns proved it last year in Houston when he said, this game is fast. And you could just see playing center field, and he has slowed the game down himself as a player. But he's created havoc with his speed for the other teams and position players, but it is a different game from watching up here.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. And Elvis hits a ground ball, one up to short, double play ball. Simeon, he goes to Laurie on to first, and Taylor made in a 6-4-3 double play on Elvis Andrus, and that gets Fernando Rodriguez out of the top of the 5th inning. Halfway through our ball game today, after 4 1/2, the Rangers lead the A's 3-1. Over the 5th inning in the final game of the series, Reddick leads off for the A's with the Rangers on top of the Athletics 3-1. Reddick, Smolinski, and Simeon against Cole Hamels. And here's the pitch by Hamels, and it's on the way. And a breaking ball is taken outside for ball 1. 7 hits for the Rangers, 2 hits for the A's. Fernando Abad gets up in the A's bullpen. 64 pitches for the southpaw, and Hamels deals. And that's outside, and it's 2-0. Reddick is 1 for 1. Stole a second, stole a third, and scored on the E8 on Delino to Shields on Smolinski's ball. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that's taken for a ball low, 3-0. We were talking about Hamels and the combined no-hitter that he started last year on Labor Day in Atlanta. Did you know, Ray, that the first combined no-hitter happened back in 1917?
No, I didn't know that.
And there's a ball, a 4-pitch walk, and that quickly the A's have the tying run coming up in the bottom of the 5th inning. And that the game was actually started by Babe Ruth.
Really? How many home runs did he hit?
I don't know. 1917, Babe back then pitching for the Red Sox against the Senators. And he walked the first hitter of the game, and he got kicked out of the game.
Wow. I think I remember that story, yeah.
And then the Red Sox brought a pitcher in out of the bullpen named Ernie Shore. And the pitch to Smolinski is popped up on the right side. The second baseman Odor has the call. And drifting back to the rim of the outfield grass to make the catch. 1 pitch, and Smolinski pops out to Odor. So Hamels is through a 4 1/3. He's given up only 2 hits. Ernie Shore came out of the bullpen in that game for the Red Sox, and he retired the next 27 batters.
But not credited with a perfect game.
No.
Yeah.
The first combined no-hitter, baseball history. As Simeon stands in for the A's, he's 0 for 1.
I think Babe just wanted some hot dogs.
That's, I think, a really good call. Now the pitch, a throw to first instead. You know, the combined no-hitter that the A's had that you were part of was almost 40 years ago today.
That's right.
Because you had mentioned that your daughter, and that'll be a great date in your memory.
Oh, yes.
Here's the pitch to Simeon. Instead of throw to first again, not in time. The A's were on the other end of 2 combined no-hitters. The Orioles back in '91, the White Sox in '76.
That's right. Blue Moon in '76, wasn't it? Was it Blue Moon part of that?
That was pitched against the A's by the White Sox. Yeah, right. And there's a strike, and it's taken by Marcus Semien. The count, no balls and 1 strike. Sonny Gray for the A's tomorrow night. Had a solid game against the Giants a year ago. Last year, the A's and the Giants had that 2-2 format that will go back to as far as the A's and Giants next year. Semien takes outside. 1 ball, 1 strike with 1 out in the bottom of the 5th, and the Rangers leading 3-1. July 8th of last year, it was Sonny against Bumgarner here. And Gray beat the Giants. He had 8 strikeouts. The A's won the game 6-1. And the pitch is swung on line to right, a base hit. Reddick takes a look. He's around second. He's going to go to third. Semien goes the other way, and the A's have things set up as they have runners at first and third. So Marcus Semien extends his hitting streak to 8 consecutive games.
Yeah, that's just one of the reasons Marcus Semien is going to continue to be a very good baseball player. Hits like that going to right field. His shortstop play has improved dramatically. And he's going to turn out to be, I mean, they're going to look at this year and say, can't believe that he had the type of year he did. But the improvement that he has made, because Bob Melton has kept him in the lineup and kept him at shortstop. And he is just hitting more and more to the opposite field, taking those pitches just the other way perfectly.
So with runners at first and third, and the Rangers play the infield for 2. Bottom of the 5th inning with 1 out, and Carson Blair, imperative that Blair makes contact here. And the pitch to Carson is taken for a strike. One of the things that the A's have done with guys like Semien, and the A's don't hit and run a lot, but they will send the runners, have a runner in motion from first just to reinforce the feeling of going the other way.
Absolutely. And forcing the hitter to make contact. That's the most important thing, because you know if you swing and miss, it's a pretty good chance going to be a caught stealing because the runner's not getting a big jump.
And the pitch is taking a strike on the inside corner. Blair didn't like it. So a play like that can be important at the time, but can reinforce some important things for the future.
You know what Hamill's doing in this at bat? He's elevating his velocity. And it's almost like he's holding back for moments like this, because he's thrown 2 very good fastballs, 90+.
Here's the 0-2 to Blair, and swung on double play ball to short. Andrews is on the bag for 1, over to first, and that quickly the inning is over. So a promising inning for the A's comes to nothing. The 6-3 double play as the Rangers and Hamels come off the diamond after 5 complete, with the Rangers on top of the A's 3-1. Abad takes over on the mound for the Athletics. And folks, you can keep up with the pennant races in true HD quality on MLB.com Premium. You can watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices, real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widgets, and more. Visit MLB.tv today. Abad nearing 60 appearances for the year. He's 2-2 and a 3.74 ERA. The A's southpaw becomes the 4th pitcher to work for the green and gold today. Chris Bassett went 3. Venditti worked the 4th inning, and Fernando Rodriguez the 5th. And Rougned Odor will lead it off against Fernando Abad. Odor is 1 for 2. Singled and reached on an error. Just a kid. He's 21 years of age.
You know, I think the next call to the bullpen is going to be for you, because everybody else is going to get a chance.
That would be a sad commentary, right?
Can Koryak get loose?
Now batting, Ray Fosse, catcher. Inside for a ball, and it's 1-0.
You know, Scotty down in the bullpen, he's getting so much water for all the relievers, he's going to have to come back to the dugout and reload.
I know.
It's amazing.
And we're trying to conserve water out here in the Golden State, right? Here's the 1-0 pitch on the way by Abad. That's taken inside 2-0. All the conversation about Yogi.
Yeah.
And of course, you grew up not that far from St. Louis, and Yogi and Joe Garagiola as kids growing up in the same neighborhood in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Was Yogi, as you were developing your own skills and learning how to catch, was there any influence from Yogi on you?
I collected his baseball card. I had a lot of Yogi Berra cards. But, you know, his style, the chest protector that had the extension down between the legs. And
here's the pitch to Odor, and a ground ball into right field for a base hit. And I don't know, Canna thought that maybe Laurie was going to field that ball.
Yeah.
Because Canna took a step and then stopped, and it looked from here like maybe that might have been a ball that Canna could have played.
I think you're exactly right, and he's probably thinking the same thing.
Now batting,
because Laurie was over near second base and actually taking a look at it, but Canna just took a step and then headed to first base. And there have been more times the other way where they've ranged too far and got in front of the second baseman when he's ready to field the ball.
I don't know if he could have gotten there or not, but that was the appearance from up here.
He had the only opportunity.
So that'll bring up Will Venable, who's 0 for 2.
But the style of catching when Yogi Berra caught, much different than even in the 60s and 70s, and obviously now much different.
Did Johnny Bench change that? Here's the bunt down the first baseline of Beauty, down to get it Canna. He throws, and on the bag is Laurie, the second baseman. The sacrifice works. 3-4 on the sack, and going to second is Odor, and that's the first out.
Johnny Bench changed it. Of course, the one-handed style catching. But the one who really developed that and started it was Randy Hundley, the Cubs. His father told him that if you want to catch, you have to avoid breaking your fingers, which means that you catch one-handed and develop the one-handed style catcher's mitt.
Well, when Yogi, and of course his greatest moment as a catcher was being behind the plate for Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series, and apparently he wasn't a great receiver when he first got to the big leagues, but the great former Yankee catcher Bill Dickey had a big influence on him as Yogi developed as a backstop. Runner at second base, and that's Odor. And here's the pitch to Chris Jimenez, and take it outside the count 1-0, 3-1 in favor of Texas.
Now, the one thing Yogi might have done, especially in the modern era, was create the importance of the catcher as an offensive player. Because you look at his numbers offensively, and while he might not have been a great catcher, but boy, the things that he did while he was behind the plate with the bat were unbelievable.
3-time MVP in the American League, over 350 home runs, inside for ball. He never struck out, and 2 balls and no strikes, 10 World Series rings, and so much has been written. It's been wonderful to read some of the articles about Yogi. And yesterday, the great Roger Angell, at the age of 95, had a wonderful piece about Yogi in the New Yorker. Roger Angell, a former Spink Award winner from Baseball's Hall of Fame, and one of the great baseball writers of all time. Here's the pitch and the 2-0, and that's taken inside, 3 balls and no strikes.
Well, the most interesting last night when Dr. Elliot Schwartz, of course, one of the A's team physicians, came up and he said, Ray, and I don't know exactly how many, but talked about the number of doubleheaders that Yogi caught, over 100.
117.
117 doubleheaders that he caught, which today, don't think so.
Well, they don't even have doubleheaders now. Outside for a ball, Jimenez walks.
And when they do, you definitely will not see a catcher catch both ends, but you'll also see a lot of times where it's a day-night doubleheader, 2 gates.
Kurt Young comes out of the A's dugout. The A's pitching coach is coming out. And right now the A's are trying to stay in this game because they're down by 2. We're in the 6th inning. It's 3-1 in favor of Texas. And a meeting at the mound with Carson Blair and Abad. The A's had a great opportunity in the bottom of the 5th inning as they had 1st and 3rd and 1 out. And then Blair bounced into the double play. But when you read someone like Roger Angell, and you're just reminded of how baseball lends itself to some of the greatest writing, and not just sports writing. And anyone who's tried to write, I think, all kind of in the shadows of someone like Roger Angell. And it reminded me, we were playing on the broadcast yesterday, the call of the final out of the A's wild card clinching game in 2001, with, of course, the great Bill King on the microphone. And I thought that was one of his more underrated calls, because just fitting the moment, because the celebration was obviously muted in light of the fact that it wasn't that long after 9/11. It was the wild card and not the division. Of course, the Mariners had a sensational team that year in 2001, as did the A's. So Young back to the dugout. Here's Delino DeShields, a right-handed hitter, with 2 on and 1 out in a 3-1 ball game with Rural and a Bluff. And the A's had beaten the Rangers the final day of the season, actually game number 161 the previous year, in a raucous, the all-time A's celebration.
Tim Hudson on the mound. Jason Isringhausen with a picture that's down on one of the runways where he's pumping his fists in the air.
That was an incredible outpouring of emotion, just unbridled. There is a pitch taken for a strike on the outside corner.
I think the best part of
2 on and 1 out.
The best part about that, the A's would have had to fly back to Tampa Bay to play the makeup game. Jason GM said, "I'm not backing."
Right.
He said, "I'm not. We're going to win," and of course they did. But that was very exciting times.
And the last out of that game was a ground ball to Jason Giambi.
Yeah.
Here's Abad with 2 on and throws, and that's taken for a ball, and the count 1-1. Bill's words as the A's got the final out, and he said, "Not that mass jumble of humanity we had last September." But jubilation nonetheless. So the count 1-1. And Abad going to work on DeShields, and the pitch is outside 2-1. And after DeShields, you get to Chu and Fielder and Beltre, and it's just hanging on to the chance they could come back as they're down by 2 here.
Well, the Rangers have turned 4 double plays behind Hamels. The A's won, and Clay Wood does such a great job on this field. Maybe that's been the biggest thing to help the Rangers today. The infield's been so good.
And the pitch is sprayed foul to the right, out of play, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. They've worked round the clock, and especially on the outfield.
I thought Clay said it best whenever Monday morning, maybe Tuesday morning, I can't remember which one, but the double plays turn. But he's done a magnificent job on this infield. But Clay said it came down the center field area. And saw this field, and he said there's no way he can get it ready for Tuesday, and sure enough he did that.
Yeah. Ground ball to the hole, base hit left field. Odor to third, up with the ball Smolinski. Odor is around third, and the throw is going to be cut off, and the Rangers lead 4-1. So a base hit to left by Delino DeShields, scoring Rougned Odor from second. Jimenez went to second. So Abad gives up the Rangers' 4th run, and it's 4-1.
Hey, there the benefit of the Rangers, first and second, which meant a ground ball that Odor able to take off on contact, and he scored without any kind of a throw. But runner at second, you have to be concerned about the ball going through the infield with 1 out. Didn't have to worry about this one.
And really no fault of Bassett. He did give up 2 in the first and 1 in the second, but he was on a pitch count today, and he left after 3, and that makes it awfully tough when you have to go to your bullpen in the 4th inning. And for the last 34 games, the A's pen has a 5.29 ERA. So now it's 4-1. And here's Chu with fielder on deck, and Fernando's breaking ball is taken outside, and it's 1-0. So Yogi, he will be missed.
Yeah.
What a life. And for the younger generation, he was really more of a cultural icon than he was a ball playing icon. 1 ball and no strikes. 9 hits now for Texas. Chu has doubled, struck out, and bounced into a force play. Abad to the plate and swung on and missed, and the count 1 ball 1 strike.
And Ray, I'm sure you guys talked about this on television last night. The amazing thing also about Yogi is, in this day and age of worrying about is this player or that player a true first ballot Hall of Famer, he was elected on his 2nd try.
Yeah.
He didn't get in on his 1st try.
How about that?
What were you saying about Joe D? 3rd try?
3rd try for Joe DiMaggio.
How could that be? I mean, how could Joe DiMaggio be like, it takes the 3rd ballot for him to get into the Hall of Fame?
So Biggio shouldn't feel too badly then. Huh?
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Well, baseball writers dictate that, and
that's right.
At least in the case of DiMaggio, as great a player as he was aloof, and maybe, writers, right or wrong, took that the wrong way.
Steve Carlton, though, just the opposite. He never talked to anybody, and he went in first.
Here's the 1-2 pitch, and it's high, taken by Chu. So single by Odor. Venable with a sacrifice. Jimenez walk. DeShields the base hit to left. And for Abad, he's facing Shin-Soo Choo in the top of the 6th inning. Here's the pitch, and it's taken outside. The A's will be facing Tim Hudson, of course, on Saturday. Hudson left the A's after the 2004 season. Barry was still here and was instrumental in the A's going to the American League Championship Series in '06. But Zito has never faced Hudson as a member of the A's. It could have happened in Atlanta in 2005. Now the 3-2 pitch is on the way. Swung on and missed, and Chu is down on strikes. So Shin-Soo Choo K's 2-way. That'll bring up fielder. Barry, of course, watching the action from down near the A's dugout today. And remember, the A's went to Atlanta in 2005, and Hudson was a Brave as the A's had dealt him to Atlanta. And Barry pitched in that series. He pitched the final game of a 3-game series. Actually won the game. The A's took 2 out of 3 from the Braves in that summer series back in '05, but Hudson did not pitch against the A's that year. Here is Prince Fielder, who is 0 for 3. And it's on the way, and that's taken inside, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. The only win the Braves had against the A's in that set was authored by John Smoltz, speaking of the Hall of Fame.
Brian McCann was his catcher. His debut. But I thought,
what a memory.
But I thought with Tim Hudson beating the A's over in San Francisco early in the season, that might have been, he thought, his last chance to pitch against the A's.
Here's the pitch, and Fielder takes the ball, and it's 2-0 as the A's have Pomerantz left-hander, Leone right-hander, up and throwing in the A's bullpen.
Well, with Hudson beating the A's, that now completed, beating all 30 teams. And he pitched 5 innings in the game. And Kendall Graveman, a lot of connections from Alabama. And I know Kendall's looking forward to seeing Huddy tomorrow.
And the pitch is outside, and it's 3-0. Graveman went just 1 1/3. It was a tough outing for him. And Hudson, like you said, went 5. He allowed 7 hits and 3 runs. The Giants completed the sweep of the A's in that late July series. As in the game started by Hudson, the Giants won 4-3.
The thing that Kim Hudson said, Tim's wife, who said, I wanted him to win, but I did not want it to be with Kendall Graveman on the mound.
Here's the pitch, and Fielder takes ball 4 outside, and now we'll see if we get Arnold Leone against Beltre. As the bases are loaded, and the Rangers have a chance to break it open, and Melvin's coming out. So the A's skipper will be crossing the foul line. He's made the call to the bullpen for Arnold Leone, who pitched well for the A's out of the pen yesterday. And with the Rangers leading 4-1, we'll come back to the Coliseum after this. Rangers with the bases loaded. Arnold Leon on the mound, and Barry Zito has pitched in the Coliseum this year. It was against the Giants in the Bay Bridge series. And he goes against Hudson on Saturday at 1:05. So it's Beltre against Leon with the bases loaded, and he is trying to stay in the game as they're down 4-1. And the pitch to Beltre is taken outside. That's ball one. Leon came out of the pen yesterday and went 2 1/3 with a walk and a strikeout and threw 30 pitches. 0-2 on the year in the big leagues and a 4.56 ERA. He's out of Mexico. And the pitch to Adrian Beltre, and here it is. And Beltre, a line drive to left, angle down the line. That's going to fall for a hit. 1 run is in. Here's the second run around third, and the throw to the plate is not going to be in time, and it skips away from Blair. And so Fielder moves up, and he goes to third, and Beltre goes to second as Jimenez and DeShields score on the play. It's a single and an error, and Beltre winds up at second base, and the Rangers have a 6-1 lead.
Well, two things happened. First of all, the hit, but then Arnold Leon did not back up home, and Carson Blair let the ball get past him, so he's going to be given the air, allowing the 2 runners to advance. But you know, that's just something that you take the double play possibility away. 2 runs are going to score anyway, but Arnold Leon unfortunately found himself standing in front of home plate instead of backing up home plate.
There are so many things that the A's will have to clean up before next season begins.
Absolutely. How about before spring training?
Yeah, here's an intentional walk now as the A's are going to walk Moreland. I don't know that the A's, you're talking this, it's going to be a critical spring for the A's. Right. So now the bases will be reloaded as Moreland walked intentionally. And Elvis Andrus will be coming up, and all of a sudden it's a 3-run inning and a 6-1 lead for Texas.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this past spring a good spring for the A's? Didn't they win a lot of games?
22 wins.
You tell me how much that means.
That's what I mean. That was called March baseball.
It doesn't matter whether you win or lose, but it's all the little things. And listen, the A's have a experienced coaching staff, and it's not like they don't know how to teach the fundamentals, but and led by Bob Melvin. But you just can't make the kinds of mistakes the A's have made this year. So here's Elvis Andrus standing in a 6-1 ball game. 10 hits for Texas, 3 hits for the A's, and 2 more errors for the A's today. And Leon to the plate, and a breaking ball is taken outside.
It's 3 consecutive games with 2 errors.
117 for the year. So after the intentional walk to Moreland, Andrus has popped out, walked, and bounced into a double play. Leon out of the stretch. And here's the pitch by Arnold, and it's taken outside, and it's 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, I'll correct myself. I misspoke when I said that double play in order is already 2 outs, but did allow 2 runners to get into scoring position. It may be a good idea to intentionally walk Moreland. Didn't have to worry about him swinging the bat.
So here's the pitch by Leon. The set, ready, the turn, and it's swung on and missed out in front of a breaking ball, and it's 2-1 to Elvis Andrus. In that series against the Giants back in July, the starting pitchers were Jesse Chavez, Chris Bassett, and Kendall Graveman. Bassett pitched well in the second game of the set. Lost a tough 2-1 ball game to Bumgarner. And he allowed a home run to Bumgarner.
Had to hit against Bumgarner.
Yeah,
gave up a home run to Bumgarner.
Here's the 2-1 by Leon, and that's a strike on the outside corner. But an example of the tough luck that Bassett's pitched in this year. He allowed just 5 hits and 2 runs in 6 innings.
And he said for 7 years they told me don't touch a bat. Now I've got to pick up a bat and try to hit against Bumgarner.
Right.
Unfairness of the interleague play, especially in National League parks for American League pitchers.
So Leon with the bases loaded and a 2-2 count and 2 out and 3 runs in, and the Rangers leading 6-1 in the 6th. Andrus waits, right-handed hitter, and the pitch, and that's taken outside. The other thing, Bassett learned a lesson in that game. He said, I didn't want to walk Bumgarner, so I threw him a fastball. And I think a lot of National League pitchers this year and over the years have learned that lesson.
Sure.
Because he can take you deep. Here's the 3-2 pitch on the way. And Leon throws. The runners go. Breaking ball, tap foul. Maybe the A's can bring Olmedo's signs out of retirement for the Giant series. Now Mr. Andrus had a 3-run home run, and his 7 home runs this year are a career high. He has 4 hits on the series. One of 2 3-run homers the Rangers hit yesterday. The other was by Beltre. So the 3-2, and again the runner is going. Leon fires it, sprayed foul back to the right, out of play, and the count holds at 3-2. So the A's, after the Giants series, will play the Angels down south, then finish up the campaign up against the Mariners in Seattle. Mitch Moreland over at first base. He was walked intentionally. Andrus batting for Texas. Arnold Leon out of the bullpen for the A's, following Bassett, Venditti, Rodriguez, and Abad. And this will be a 3-2 pitch with 2 away. And again, the runners are going, and the pitch, and it's swung on, and that's hit softly on the line to short, and taken by Simeon for the final out. Rangers get 3, they leave 3, and we go to the bottom of the 6th, and it's 6-1 Texas. Remind you again about 2016 spring training, as home dates for games at Hohokam Park have been announced. You can enjoy a first-class experience and get an early glimpse at next year's squad at the A's all-new spring training venue in Mesa. And for more information, you can visit athletics.com/spring today. Just had a beautiful look at the East Bay Hills and Mount Diablo, and the pitch taken by Billy Burns for a ball, and the count 1-0. 6-1 in favor of the Rangers.
At one time, you could actually see the Oakland Hills.
That's correct. And it swung on and fouled back, out of play, and the count ball is 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, that was before. Well, let's not get into that.
That's a good idea.
Here's the 1-1 pitch, and swung on by Burns, a fly ball short left center, and DeShields is there to make the catch. The thing that I'll never forget about the 1996 season was how
starting in Vegas,
and now every day that went by, we lost more and more of the view.
That's right.
Because we started out thinking, well, if they don't build the thing really high, then we can still see some of the hills, and then kept building. It got higher and higher, and then the ultimate indignity, I think, was that they were doing the construction while the games were going on.
That's right. 7th inning stretch was probably the most exciting part.
With Icebox.
Yeah, exactly. Doing the YMCA.
1 out, and now the pitch to Canna, and a breaking ball for a strike on the outside corner.
The only thing I kept waiting for, and it's hard to see it in this part of the California, snow on Mount Davis. It's been nice to see somebody skiing.
Well, some of those days, here is the 0-1 pitch, is a ground ball to third. Beltry is there, cradles it near his chest, fires to first for the out. I mean, the A's used to sell tickets up there, and some of the playoff games or Giants games, and I don't know what they were charging, like $2 to sit up there, and we'd get 55,000 for games.
Well, the 20th win, 2002, was 55,000. But the problem sitting on Mount Davis, as you look down, the most you could see was second base to home plate. So any fly ball, you could hear all the excitement of the fans. What are you doing? Well, they thought every fly ball was a home run, and they cheered.
The blimp would be a better view.
That's right.
Well, it would be a good experience for the broadcasters if you go to Pittsburgh or Washington.
Yeah, right.
Laurie takes a ball, and it's 1-0. Is that a strike? Did he get me?
That was a strike.
Okay. No balls and one strike.
But the sad part is that they built that monstrosity, and now they tarp it for football.
I know.
It's.
Here's the pitch, and a ground ball, base hit to center field by Brett Laurie. So Laurie has a hit, and that'll bring up Danny Valencia.
Well, the good news about this inning, Hamels can't get a double play.
That's right.
He's had 4. First, third, fourth, and fifth double plays.
Now batting third baseman, number 26.
Meanwhile, the Dodgers, after Kershaw left the game, I think it was after 5, wasn't it? Ray, Kershaw left after 5, but the Dodgers have come back and they lead the Diamondbacks 6-3. And if they go on and hold that lead, that would reduce the magic number to 4. And the Giants play tonight against the Padres in San Diego, and Valencia takes inside for ball 1. The Pirates clinched the postseason, their 3rd consecutive postseason yesterday. Just the 3rd time since the early 1900s that the Pirates are going to the postseason in 3 consecutive years, and they lead Colorado 5-4 in the 9th. Valencia dribbles it foul down the right side. It's a light card around baseball. Everything in the American League is later. The White Sox at the Yankees, Tampa Bay at Boston, Cleveland at Minnesota, and Seattle at Kansas City. Cole Hamels has thrown 83 pitches, so he's been pretty economical. Kansas City's magic number is 2 to clinch the Central. And the 1-1 pitch, and that's outside 2-1. Toronto's magic number against the Yankees to win the East is 8. Cardinals have a magic number of 7 to clinch the NL Central. Cardinals and Pirates still have a 3-game series. Valencia swings and misses. Now it's 2-2. And this weekend the Pirates play the Cubs at Wrigley. The Mets' magic number is 5 to win the East. So the Pirates still have the Cardinals and the Cubs the rest of the way. Valencia check swing. Did he go? And apparently not. And the count 3-2. The Rangers, with 2 out in the bottom of the 6th, lead the A's 6-1. Valencia batting. The A's have Billy Butler on deck. And a 2-out single to center by Brett Laurie. And Hamels out of the stretch. Laurie takes his lead, and Valencia, it's a fly ball playable left center field. DeShields is coming on, and he's right there to make the catch. The inning is over, and after 6 complete, Cole Hamels has allowed just 1 run on 4 hits, and the Rangers lead the A's 6-1. can help you achieve value in your investment portfolio. After 6 complete, it's the Rangers over the A's here at the Coliseum in the final game of the series. By the score of 6-1, Dan Otero takes over for the A's. And once again, here's Vince.
It'll be the bottom third of the lineup for Texas. Rougned Odor and Will Venable and Chris Jimenez against Dan Otero. Odor, 2 hits, 2 runs scored. Reached on an error as well today. And he takes outside, ball 1. Otero, 38th appearance. You look at the numbers and you see an ERA at 7.44 next to Otero's name, and you just shake your head. It just doesn't seem to match. 1-0 offer. Hit out a play behind third base. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Can it just be one of those years for a guy like Dan Otero?
I think it is, and I think for a lot of players, both position and pitchers, it just seems to be one of those years that Murphy's lost. Can go wrong, it will go wrong, and has gone wrong.
His 1-1 pitch. Swung on and popped up, heading in our direction, just below us. 1 ball and 2 strikes. $14,452 here today as Keona Kella begins to loosen up in the bullpen for the Rangers. 6 strong innings so far from Cole Hamels with a 6-1 lead. And Otero ready to deliver a 1-2 pitch to Odor as he stands back in. This kid has some sneaky pop. He takes inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A sinker ball pitcher. Otero's not even in the heyday when he was doing dominating things for the A's. He was never overpowering. Always had the great motion on his fastball. How does he find a way to make that sinker sink as opposed to maybe going laterally a lot as it has this year?
Well, probably not try to force it and just have it happen naturally, which it has.
2-2 popped up again behind the plate. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I just think it is one of those years, and that's why if you get a closer who is consistent in getting saves and dominating in the last inning, that's special. And unfortunately, you don't see that a lot anymore. There's still guys around. Houston Street stands out. He looks like he's saying, jump on my shoulders. I'm going to carry you and pitch as much as possible, try to win.
2-2 swing and a foul off the foot. And Odor hangs in there against Otero. I mean, this should kind of put it into focus. Otero with the A's in 2013 when he came out of nowhere had a 1.38 ERA. Then last year, dependable and used quite a bit, 72 times, only 15 walks, and a 2.28 ERA. And to think that it's at 7.44 this year, it just doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Another 2-2 hit on the ground behind first base, backhanded by Canna, races to the bag, and he'll beat Odor there for the out. And now Venable. It's not the end all on why the A's are where they are at 64 and 88, but it is certainly something the A's didn't think they had to address in spring training, and that is the dependability of a bullpen, even though they knew they were minus Sean Doolittle at the beginning. But Sean is back now and has been pitching, and he's been effective, and does look more like the closer of the past couple of years. A swing and a miss by Venable for strike 1, and I think that's a comforting thought for the A's bullpen. But nobody anticipated Ryan Cook not making the team. Nobody anticipated Dan Otero being as inconsistent as he was.
And sent to AAA a couple times.
Yep.
I think the first time was very shocking.
0-1 took a little bit off. The changeup floats outside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
But I just think from this year, and again, guys have been healthy, but put in situations just trying, and maybe trying too hard to show that they're capable of getting outs in certain situations.
1-1 pitch off the plate again outside, ball 2.
I think with a sinker ball pitcher, and I don't know if that's what's happened to Dan Otero, but if you try to force a sinker, it's not going to sink. It's going to straighten out, and that's when you get in trouble, and it just happens naturally with the arm angle.
The 2-1. There's a sinker and a good one, tipped into the mid of Blair and held on, evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I think Chad Qualls is the one that stands out because he was horrible against the A's last year. Joe Smith, just horrible, but all of a sudden next year everything turns around just the opposite.
2-2. Hit out a play behind third, and in the case of Otero, as we just illustrated. I mean, he has done it before, and he's done it at a very high level. And he was used in a lot of high leverage situations, including in the postseason. So it's not like this is a guy that you're kind of hoping could morph into something. He's already been there. And now you're just hoping that he can find a way to get it back. 2-2. Pulled into right field, down the line in the corner, a foul ball as it hooks past the Ranger bullpen. Well, the one thing the A's don't have a lot of, and that is consistent power arms they can count on in the bullpen. I mean, Fernando Rodriguez does throw 93, 94, occasionally 95. And R.J. Alvarez has the same life on his fastball, but R.J. just has had a lot of difficulty commanding the strike zone consistently. 2-2 swing and a foul at the plate. Came back with a changeup. You look at all the other bullpens, for the most part around baseball, they have usually more than one power arm in their pen. And Keone Kela is an example of that. That kid throws it up there 93, 95. Who will follow Hamels, it appears, in the bottom of the 7th inning. Texas leading 6-1. Venable steps out for a moment. And the pitch grounded outside of third base. A's are trying to avoid a 5-game losing streak, hoping that being a part of trying to play the role of spoiler down the stretch of the American League West could kind of raise their game a little bit. And as it turns out, they've been unable to hold some of the leads they've had during the stretch, and that's been a familiar refrain all year. The 2-2 hit sharply up the middle, right through Otero, over the mound and into center field. So Venable, along at bat, he wins the battle with Otero. 1 out, 1 on. Here comes Chris Jimenez.
Put away pitch, 4 foul balls with 2 strikes, and then finally a little bit of an elevated pitch, and he got the ground ball, but right back up the middle and hit hard.
And you could see where Blair was set up on that pitch. He was set up inside, and the ball just drifted further and further to the middle, to the outer third of the plate, meaning out over the plate, as opposed to maybe hitting it to the second baseman or topping it back to the mound. Jimenez has been on base 3 times, 2 singles, a walk, and a run scored. He takes a fastball strike, and it's 0-1. 6 runs, 11 hits, an error for Texas. 1 run, 4 hits, and 2 errors for the A's. We welcome in the Giants tomorrow night at 7:05 with Sonny Gray on the mound for the A's. In the opener of that series against Mike Leake, swinging a ground ball outside of third. Speaking of Sonny Gray, and in this day and age, there are a variety of ways for athletes to get their message out. And today on the Players Tribune, which is that website which is owned, I guess, by Derek Jeter, David Ortiz chimed in with an article on the 5 toughest pitchers he's ever faced. Swinging a fly ball to right, and Reddick is there. Josh will make the catch. That's the 2nd out. Venable back to first base, and Sonny's on that list. It started with Pedro Martinez, then Mariano Rivera.
Good one.
Mike Messina, who said in his first 20 at bats he never got a hit against him. Then at number 4, and a current pitcher, Sonny Gray, who's always impressed with his movement on his pitches and just how he makes it work for a guy that's in some ways maybe not as large in stature on the mound. And then Carter Capps came out of nowhere.
Carter Capps with that weird delivery where he comes off the hill and it's like he's in front of the rubber. Didn't Mike Messina almost throw a perfect game against the Red Sox at Fenway Park? It was broken up by Carl Everett.
That's right.
Swinging a fly ball toward right center, caught by Billy Burns, and the inning is over. Otero,
I have somebody else to put on that list when we come back.
You're teasing, aren't you?
Oh, I am.
Cole Hamels likely done. Keone Kela coming on in relief, 6-1 Texas. Bottom of the 7th. Folks with their hard hats ready to try to make that happen. See if the A's have a late rally against the Ranger bullpen. Oakland down 6-1 as Keone Kela comes on. And as we went to break, fans,
this is going to be good.
We had a cliffhanger.
Well,
you may recall.
He picked 5 pitchers, right?
He picked 5.
Now, just think, he would have picked Keith Folk if he'd have thrown him a changeup.
Oh, here we go.
Wow. Here's Butler standing against Kela. Fouls up. We had to wait for that.
Hey, but just think about Keith Folk, right?
It was the 8th inning of Game 4 of the 2003
and how many
Division
changeups did he
Series.
throw in?
None.
Thank you.
In Fenway
and
Park.
do you know why? Because David Ortiz was the best changeup hitter in baseball, but Keith Folk had the best changeup in all of baseball, right?
Now that we've got that settled.
I called it.
Here's the one-strike pitch. Lined over third, a base hit into the left field corner for Butler. Venable's got to chase it down. Billy around first on his way to second, and he will get a double, his 27th of the year. So he turns around Keone Kela, who made his major league debut against the A's in April right here on this mound. And for Billy Butler, he's at second base for the Athletics.
1,400th career hit, according to Dick Callahan on that announcement. And, you know, the last at bat against Cole Hamel, he took the first 2 pitches for strikes. If he needed 1 for 1,400, I'd been happy, man. Go after him early.
Ray, you'll never get over that pitch.
I never will, because
you'll never get over it.
It was the most devastating at bat I've ever seen in my life. It's horrible.
Okay, now we're getting to some hyperbole here.
Well, there was another Manny Ramirez, but I won't bring that one up.
Well, that was the next day.
No.
There was no day off between the 4th and 5th games.
Glad I brought up David Ortiz.
Yeah. But that was a good nugget you had there. That's 5 pretty good pitchers.
Now Josh Reddick standing in against Kela. He fouls back a 94-mile-an-hour fastball for strike 1. Reddick singled, stole 2 bases, scored the A's lone run to this point. That was in the bottom of the 2nd, then walked in the 5th. Drew Stubbs, by the way, in the game now for Texas. He's in center, replacing Delano DeShields. Here's the 0-1. It's low and outside. 1-1 the count. Remember when Kela made his debut against the A's, Ray? He threw one fastball after another, and the A's were making hard contact against him. Probably a kid that didn't have a lot of trouble dominating minor league hitters with that one pitch, but found out it was a different story. Then began to show some of the other pitches in his arsenal. That's 7 wins now.
Curveball is outstanding.
Is 1-1. Fastball fouled back, and it's 1-2. Jake Smolinski waiting on deck.
The thing about Kela's curveball is that it comes like his fastball and then just drops. And it's 12-6, but a very hard pitch and very difficult to pick up as a hitter.
Hamels went 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 unearned run, 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. 1-2 pitch inside, and there is that hard breaking ball we're talking about. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's a big note, though, for Hamels. 4 double play ground balls. They had 4 sac flies Tuesday. So this afternoon they get 4 double plays defensively.
First time ever in a Cole Hamels start that he's had 4 double plays.
You know, and I've got 13 ground ball outs. So you have 4 double plays. Of course, that's 8 right there. But just kept the ball on the ground. Every time the A's had a chance to do something, he would find a way to get a ground ball. A's had no chance.
Here's the 2-2. Curveball swung on and missed in the dirt. Picked up by Jimenez. Clears, throws the first in time. And that retires Reddick. A strikeout and a 2-3 at first base. That's the 3rd strikeout against the A's. Remember, Cole Hamels initially was not going to start today.
Yeah.
It was going to be Giovanni Gallardo. But Hamels was certainly up to the task. And what he wanted to do was stay on his regular day. And he certainly seemed locked in today.
You know, that's important. I think sometimes extra rest, off days, you know, they try to, this time of the year, you say, well, give everybody an extra day. Some guys don't need it. Some guys don't want it.
And by staying on his regular day, it does allow Hamels, if necessary, to pitch the final day of the season, if it means something for the Rangers, as Stephen Vogt is announced as a pinch hitter here for Jake Smolinski. Bottom of the 7th, the A's down 6-1.
And then he could pitch if there was a tiebreaker game the next day. He'd be ready for that too, or first game of the postseason.
And now Mike Maddox is going to go out to the mound with a member of the training staff to take a look at Keone Kela. They must have noticed something in his mechanics, or maybe the release, to make sure his body is okay. They have the left-hander loosening in the bullpen. That's Jake Diekman loosening down there. No, it's Andrew Faulkner who's loosening up right now. And they are having a straightforward talk with Kella, and he has convinced, the rookie has convinced the pitching coach that he's okay. Well,
he missed some time not that long ago, so maybe it's a similar issue. He had some soreness in his arm.
You mentioned the potential of a tiebreaker. You know, there are a number of scenarios that may play out. And Jason Stark of ESPN did a great job today in his attempt to apply advanced physics and geometry and everything else to try to break down what happens if, with ties and multiple ties of teams in the American League. Now Vogt stands in, and he takes a fastball down and in, ball one.
Did you say physics?
Well,
mathematics?
All kinds of stuff. If Houston and LA are tied, the playing game is played in Houston because they've got the better record against the Angels. If LA and Minnesota are tied, it's played in Minnesota. They've got the better record. Next pitch is foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike, meaning head to head, the better record. If the Astros and Minnesota tie, it's in Minnesota because they did better in their division and did better inside the American League than the Astros because their season series was even at 3-3. Follow me now?
No.
That's the idea. That's how difficult it is. Here's the 1-1. Swung on, blooped behind the A's dugout and back into the seats.
Throw me a changeup.
1 ball and 2 strikes. How about if Houston, Minnesota, and LA are all tied?
Oh, wow. That should be fun.
Minnesota and Houston and Minnesota, and then in LA. LA would have the choice to pick where they wanted to play 1 or 2 games.
That's great.
Would they rather play 2 games or play the 1? Obviously, you would think they'd want to play just the 1.
This is the changeup you were looking for, Ray.
That's right.
Because they had a better head-to-head matchup, and a swing and a miss by Vogt, and he's down on strikes. So 2 outs, and here comes Marcus Semien. Marcus singled the other way back in the 5th inning.
But you know, one thing with all that scenario that you just, I mean, that was very good, by the way.
Well, credit Jason Stark of ESPN. I just simply wrote it down.
We're going to be home watching all that because, sorry, the A's. You didn't mention the A's in any of that.
The A's were involved in this last year with the possibilities.
Like
First pitch to Semien. A curve is down for ball 1. Remember, the A's didn't know.
That's right.
In Texas, were they going to fly to Seattle? Were they going to fly to Kansas City?
That's right.
Or were they going to fly home?
Fortunately, they did win the game.
Sonny Gray with the complete game against Texas. Boy, the Globe Life mound is Sonny, one of Sonny's best friends. He has dominated in Arlington over the years. Here's the 1-0. Curveball again. This one a strike. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The interesting thing will be on the final day of the regular season, because all the games will start at the exact same time. And with the A's on the West Coast, their first pitch in Seattle will be 12:10. East Coast will be 3:10. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit hard towards straightaway center. Back onto the Stubbs, to the track, at the wall. Kisses into the padding and holds on and makes the play, and the inning is over. Semien gives it a long rod, but Drew Stubbs hauls it in, and we're on to the top of the 8th inning. Still 6-1 Texas. The crowd on hand on this sunny, warm Thursday afternoon. It's all Texas so far. They lead it 6-1. Another pitching change for the A's. Tell you about that. Take you the rest of the way on this Thursday and advance to the final home series with the Giants starting tomorrow night. Once again, here's Ken.
It's the right-hander Cody Martin, who's made a couple of starts for the A's this year. And he comes in out of the pen to face Shin-Soo Choo. Cody Martin was called up the other day while the A's were in Chicago and started for the Athletics against the White Sox. That was the 16th of September. He allowed 6 hits and 6 runs in 3 innings. And here's Choo leading it off against Martin. A breaking ball is taken outside, and the count 1-0. 6 runs, 11 hits, an error for the Rangers. A run on 5 hits and 2 errors for the A's. Stephen Vogt stays in the game at first base for the Athletics. Martin deals off speed down low, and it's 2-0. And Mark Canha goes to left field. And Choo is leading off for Texas in the 8th inning. He has a double today. The outfield hitting room in right center. Martin to the plate, and that's taken low, and the count 3-0. Martin is a Californian. He's from Dos Palos down in the Central Valley, the home of Dave Henderson.
Dave Henderson. You do a better Dave Henderson than that,
Roy can do a better Dave Henderson than that. There is a strike, and it's 3-1. In AAA in the Braves organization this year, Martin was 1-3 and a 2.10 ERA. At Nashville, he was 4-4 with a 5.10. And the pitch is taken for a strike on the outside corner. The A's acquired Martin earlier this year from the Braves for international slot money. Sounds like something you'd get at, one of the cages in Reno. Right? Like some international slot money. Here's a 3-2 pitch, and that's taken outside, ball 4. So Choo is walked leading off in the 8th inning, and that'll bring up Fielder.
Now batting, number 84, Prince Fielder.
Prince Fielder has bounced out twice, struck out, and walked. So Cody Martin. It's actually officially it was July 2nd when the A's acquired Martin. International bonus slot 53. And at that point he was assigned to Nashville, the A's AAA affiliate.
What's the 53? Is that like 51?
No, that's the 50,
area 51.
I guess it's the 53rd opportunity you have to sign an international free agent. 53rd on the list. Here's the 0-1 delivery to Fielder, and Fielder hits a drive to deep right field. That's way back. Reddick will turn and watch, and it was gone as Fielder hits a 2-run home run to right field in the 8th inning. And the Rangers take an 8-1 lead. So Prince Fielder hits his 22nd home run of the year, and it's 8-1 in favor of Texas in the 8th. It comes on an 0-1 pitch from Cody Martin. So the 12th hit for the Rangers is a home run by Fielder, and that'll bring up Beltre. Beltre is 2 for 4, and here's the pitch to him, and that's a strike on the outside corner. So the Rangers 2 in the first, 1 in the second. They got 3 in the 6th and 2 so far here in the 8th. And Cody Martin fires, and a breaking ball inside almost hits Beltre, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. The A's have used Bassett, Venditti, Rodriguez, Abad, Leon, Otero, and now Martin on this Thursday afternoon. And here's the pitch. It's a 1-1. That's taken inside, 2-1. Dodgers lead the Diamondbacks 6-3 in the 9th inning, and the Pirates have finished off Colorado 5-4 as that final is in. Fielder's been a big presence in many ways.
Yeah.
Obviously literally, but he's had a real comeback year for the Rangers in 2015. 22 home runs, 86 RBIs. He's batting over 300. Right now at 303, and the pitch is a line drive to right. Reddick coming on. He's there reaching down, makes the catch as Beltre lines out for the first out, and that'll bring up Mitch Moreland. The Rangers going to Houston over the weekend for 3. Then they finish up at home. They get the Tigers in a 3-game series. Then they play the Angels in a 4-game set that begins on Thursday. Here's Mitch Moreland standing in. Has not put the ball into play yet today. Has walked twice and struck out twice. Outfield hitting room in right center. Martin ready and to the plate, and that's taken low, and the count 1-0. The Angels, meanwhile, will play the Mariners in a 3-game set at home over the weekend. Then they get the A's for 3 before they go to Texas for those final 4. Here's Martin and the 1-0 pitch, and that swung on lifted center field, well hit. Burns back to the track, right to the wall, turning around. That's off the top of the wall, and turning at first and going to second with a double is Mitch Moreland. And the Rangers keep the line moving. That's their 13th hit as Moreland doubles off the wall, angled toward left center over the head of Billy Burns.
I don't know that Billy would have caught it, but he lost it in the sun, and well, just kept slicing and slicing away from me. To be honest, with the power of Moreland, thought it might have a chance to get out, and it came close, but hit off the top of the wall. It's an amazing thing about Simeon. Simeon hit his too hard on a line drive, and it had no chance to get elevated enough to get out of the park.
Attention, please, ladies.
Now the Rangers go to their bench
batting for Andrews,
with Moreland at second base and 1 out in the 8th inning.
Alberto.
And Hanser Alberto comes off the bench. Hanser Alberto is batting for Elvis Andrus. 8-1 in favor of Texas. And Cody Martin's pitch is a breaking ball inside 1-0. The Astros, and again the Astros 3 back of Texas today. The Astros, after hosting the Rangers for 3, they go on the road. And they'll play the Mariners and the Diamondbacks, as the Astros have to finish up with a 3-game set in Phoenix. Now the pitch, and that swung on and foul back out of play, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, to complicate things for the Astros, they have to finish the 3 in a National League Park, and they can't use their DH. And Evan Gattis did say he'll probably play left field, but that's going to hamstring them a little bit. Not able to play their full lineup and have to put a DH in the outfield.
No question. So Cody Martin is facing Alberto, who batted for Elvis Andrus, and now the 1-1 pitch is on the way, and that's swung on and missed, and the count 1-2. And the other thing that becomes complicated is how you set your rotation down the stretch, and how much do you play for the division versus the 1-game wild card. And the Pirates got caught last year in a similar situation trying to win the division. They didn't have Garrett Cole available for the wild card game. Alberto swings and misses. He's down on strikes, and that's out number 2 in the 8th inning. But I think most people will say that, and I think one of the things about the 1-game wild card is that initially when baseball announced they were going to that, there was the feeling that maybe you're going to devalue the regular season by adding one more playoff team. But I think ironically it's increased the value of the regular season.
Sure.
Because nobody wants to just play 1 game and be done. You'd much rather take your chances with the best 3 out of 5. Here's Rougned Odor, and he takes a pitch outside for a ball. 8 runs, 13 hits, an error for the Rangers, a run on 5 hits, and 2 errors for the A's. So it becomes complex as teams try to set their rotations down the stretch. And Martin turns and deals, and it's swung on, bounce to the right side, taken at second by Brett Laurie, a throw to first in time for the out. But Prince Fielder increases the lead for the Rangers with a 2-run home run to right field. And we're going to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Texas leads the A's 8-1. command, and they're 6 outs away from sweeping this 3-game set. As Carson Blair comes up to lead off for the A's in the bottom of the 8th against left-hander Andrew Faulkner. He has no record of 3.68 ERA. As during his time in the big leagues, he's allowed 6 hits in 7 1/3 innings. And against Carson Blair leading it off, and the pitch taken for a strike on the outside corner. Cole Hamels game to win, and Chris Bassett's game to lose. Faulkner began this year in Double-A. He's pitched in Double-A and Triple-A. And there's a pitch taken outside for a ball by Carson Blair, and it's 1-1. Faulkner combined between Frisco and Round Rock in 34 games, including 15 starts, was 7-4 and a 3.86 ERA. The A's and the Rangers in the bottom of the 8th, and a long afternoon for the green and gold as Blair swings and misses. Now it's 1-2. In that Pittsburgh Colorado game, Ray, the winning pitcher was Joe Blanton, and he's actually won back-to-back games pitching out of the bullpen for Pittsburgh.
That's great.
And he's 5-0 with the Pirates. Here's the pitch, and Blair a check swing. Did he go? The appeal, and yes on the appeal, and that's strike 3, and Blair is down on strike. That's quite a comeback for Joe Blanton.
That's right. Started with Kansas City and was let go. And it's good to see Country Joe do something special with a team that's going to postseason.
Mark Melancon got his 50th save in that game for the Pirates.
I think of Francisco Rodriguez getting 62 to set the all-time record. Bobby Thigpen went at 57. It was the leader for one time, and before K-Rod came on.
With the White Sox?
Yeah.
Didn't K-Rod make his big league debut against the A's in 2002 in September?
Yeah.
Now the pitch to Burns is dribbled toward third. Tough play. Beltre charging and throws the ball into right field. Into foul territory off the side wall. Burns at second holding there. Odor plays it back. And now the ball gets loose, but it's backed up by the pitcher Faulkner. So Burns, when he gets the ball on the ground, he's got a great chance to beat it out. And Beltre with a charging and off balance throw, but he airmailed the first baseman Moreland. So Burns winds up at second base.
I hope it's a single and an E5, because you have to look at the difficulty of playing because the difficulty is created with the speed of Billy Burns. You got to go glove third baseman that had to hurry. It took an erratic hop to the right of Beltre as he fielded and then hurriedly threw to first base, and it was passed. And Burns could have actually ended up at third. It went down to the bullpen so far, but down as far as the A's are. Make sure and play conservative baseball.
So here's Canna against Faulkner, and Canna takes a strike on the outside corner. That Dodgers Diamondbacks game is final, with the Dodgers winning 6-3, and even though Kershaw left after 5, he got the win over Patrick Corbin. Kenley Jansen got a save. Chris Heisey hit a grand slam for the Dodgers, his first home run for them. Here it's 8-1, the A's trail, and Canna swings and hits it foul. A broken bat drive left to the bag at third. The Mets are at the Reds later as Canna gets some new lumber. The Phillies are at Miami. Milwaukee is at the Cardinals. Michael Wacha going for win number 17. And the Giants and the Padres in San Diego. The Dodgers have reduced their magic number to 4 against San Francisco. And that's Bumgarner against Kennedy, as Bumgarner is going for win number 19. No balls and 2 strikes to Mark Canna.
It's Tim Hudson's oldest daughter, Kennedy.
That's right. And here's the 0-2 pitch on the way. And that swung on line down the left field line, hooking in the corner, and foul and home run depth deep into the lower deck. And it's 0-2. Tim and Kim Hudson, while Tim was pitching for the A's, were very active in a lot of charitable enterprises out here in the East Bay. Used to have a golf tournament every year over in Pleasant Hill at Contra Costa Country Club. Raised a lot of money. So the count 0-2. The outfield, a gap in right center. And here's the pitch by Faulkner, and that misses the inside corner. And it's 1-2 to Mark Canna.
Tim is a very good hitter, but he will not be hitting on Saturday. That would be nice, though, if Bruce Bochy said, Hudson, hit for yourself. You're a good hitting pitcher.
That's right.
Don't think it's going to happen. The Giants trying to avoid elimination.
I think somebody broached the subject of Bumgarner DHing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not that far-fetched. Here's the pitch, and Faulkner ready with Burns at second on the way to Canha. Lifted foul back to the right, out of play.
But if that happened, either DHing or pinch hit, how would you think the other position players who've been caught up in September would think? We're called up, and they're using a pitcher to pinch hit or DH. I don't think it's going to happen.
What if they said, how many home runs have you hit in the big leagues?
Right.
That's right. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. The Rangers lead 8-1. Beautiful sunny day and warm, still in the mid-80s out here. And the 1-2 pitch to Canha is taken outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Speaking of charity, the A's are raising money, as you guys know, to help the victims of the terrible fires that have ravaged parts of Northern California recently. And through the A's Community Fund, every dollar collected will be donated to disaster relief funds. And you can donate now at athletics.com/fire. That's athletics.com/fire. As the A's and their fans and people all around Northern California helping to provide relief to the victims who suffered significant losses in those fires, actually destroying more than 800 homes. Canha takes the ball, and now it's up to around 1,200. Michael Baird. Tough time of the year. So 3-2 with 1 out to Canha. Center field, Stubbs about 2 or 3 steps toward left center. The outfield gap in right center field, out of the stretch. And here's Faulkner, and he throws, and Canha hits a pop-up on the infield. Near the pitcher's mound, coming down from third is Beltre. He's there, and he cradles it. And that's the second out. And that'll bring up Brett Lawrie. He's hoping to turn the page, and the Giants will be here tomorrow night.
Second baseman, number 15, Brett Lawrie.
Here's Lawrie, who's 1 for 2.
What was that,
His
Vinny?
single walk to bounce into a double play.
Sound like Freddie Mercury in the background.
Here's the pitch, and that swung on foul back. Mike Leake and Sonny Gray tomorrow. Similar pitchers in terms of their size. I guess you could say smallish right-handers. Different stuff. Sonny's stuff is more electric than Leake, although Leake can really pitch. He's had a tough September for the Giants. No balls and 1 strike. And it's taken high. More of a guy who moves it around, a sinker ball pitcher. But Sonny, when he's on his game, and Vince was talking about David Ortiz, and Sonny, one of the toughest pitchers for him to hit. Mike Leake is one of those guys who went directly from the draft to the big leagues.
That's right.
Didn't go to the minor leagues before he made his major league debut with Cincinnati. Here's the 1-1 pitch, and that swung on foul back, out of play, and it's 1-2. The A's had that happen a couple of times in their history. Guys like Tim Conroy and Mike Morgan come to mind. Now, Leake later, I think the next year after he made his debut with the Reds, he was sent down to the minor leagues. I think the most famous or infamous situation where the pitcher got called straight up was with the Rangers. Bouncy ball left of the bag at third with David Clyde.
That's right.
Which was, it was unfortunate for him. He was rushed to the big leagues out of high school. And it was done really to sell tickets. But it had a real adverse impact on his career, Ray, as you know.
Absolutely.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And it's on the way, and that's swung on a miss. Lawrie is down on strike. So we're going to the 9th inning on this Thursday at the Coliseum. And the Rangers lead the A's 8-1. Outs away from a sweep here, and it's 8-1 in favor of Texas. They've out-hit the A's 13-6. Every time the A's turn a double play this season, Men's Warehouse will donate $100 to Year Up. Right now, find great deals on designer brands, including Joseph Abboud, Calvin Klein, and Kenneth Cole. To find a store or to shop online, visit menswarehouse.com. Venable leads off and fouls it back, and it's 0-1 to Will Venable.
Cole Hamel would have created a lot of money today. They had 4. The A's have 1. Got to combine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to talk to the opposition maybe before next year, Ray.
I don't think so. You don't want the A's hitting into double plays. That just kills an inning, man. Everything was looking great, then all of a sudden double play.
Breaking ball taken outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, the A's were still in the game when they had that first and third situation back in the bottom of the 5th. And then Blair bounced into the 6-3 twin killing. Here's the pitch to Venable, and Venable takes it low. And it's 2-1 to Will Venable.
It's a credit to Cole Hamel. The A's did not see him in Arlington, but this afternoon they did, and realized exactly why the Rangers were interested in acquiring him.
Will Venable out of San Rafael High, and the 2-1 pitch is swung on a shot, 1 hop into the shift at second, taken by Laurie, and Laurie throws him out, and so Venable is out 4-3. That'll bring up Chris Jimenez.
Also pretty much guarantees his performance today, that when Texas goes to Houston, even if the worst case scenario and they get swept, they still have first place.
Yeah.
That's right. The Astros off today, and so the Rangers will have a 3.5 game lead when that series begins tomorrow night. So here's Jimenez, a right-handed hitter, against Cody Martin. 9th inning, 8-1 in favor of Texas. And the pitch by Martin, and a fastball high, 1-0. Cody went to Gonzaga after prepping down in Dos Palos. 1-0. Now here's the turn in the pitch, and it's swung on a fly ball right field, playable. Reddick is finding the sun a little bit. He's there in short right to make the catch, out number 2. The Rangers will throw Giovanni Gallardo against Scott Kazmir tomorrow night. They have a day game on Saturday, Derek Holland against Colin McHugh. And then Sunday, Martin Perez against Dallas Keuchel, who's unbeaten at home this year, and 18-8 overall.
Texas with the best road record in the American League against the Astros, are the best home record in the American League.
But the road record might doom the Astros if they fail to make the postseason.
Yeah.
Because on the road they're 29-46. Drew Stubbs, the first pitch to him is ball 1, 1-0. 2 out, nobody aboard. Meanwhile, for the A's, Sonny Gray tomorrow night, Barry Zito Saturday afternoon, Sean Nolan on Sunday afternoon. Here's the pitch inside. David Feldman passing along the note. We talked about the possibility that Zito might have faced Hudson back in Hudson's Atlanta days, and David passing along that Zito and Hudson have never matched up against each other. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and swung on a miss by Stubbs, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
I think they matched up nicely right before the All-Star break in 2001.
In Arizona.
All 3 of them against the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks did not want to face the big 3, which they had to.
Here's the 2-1 pitch on the way, and that's taken for a strike, 2-2, and that got the A's over 500. That year, right at the All-Star break, they were something like, I don't know, 45-44. Outfield, a gap in left center. And Drew Stubbs, the former National Leaguer, and he swings. It's a fly ball right field. Reddick going back on this, nearing the track, at the track, and he makes a good play over the shoulder, then cradles the ball down around his waist in deep right field, and then brushes up against the barrier. So Stubbs flies to right. The Rangers go down 1-2-3, and we go to the bottom of the 9th inning, and the Rangers lead the A's 8-1. at 8-1. And AAA has over 100 years of experience saving people in trouble. That's why AAA and the American Red Cross have teamed up to help people prepare for emergencies and disasters. For every A's game-winning save this season, AAA will donate $500 to our local Red Cross, so you can high-five that game-winning save, knowing our community will be stronger in times of emergency. To learn more, visit AAA.com/saves. Danny Valencia leads off for the A's in the bottom of the 9th inning. And Anthony Bass, a veteran right-hander, comes out of the bullpen for the Rangers. And the pitch to Danny is on the way, and that's taken outside. Quite a pickup for the A's. Valencia, although he's hitless today, entering today, he had played in 37 games for the A's, and he had 32 RBIs. Anthony Bass, 32nd appearance, a 4.52 ERA, and the pitch outside, and it's 2-0 to Danny Valencia. 7:05 tomorrow, 1:05 on Saturday and Sunday. Clay Thompson will throw out the first pitch before the Saturday game. Here's the pitch, and swung on, driven to right center, up the alley, a long run for Chu, and he's not going to get it, and that goes to the wall on a hop, and Chu plays it back, and pulling up at second with a double is Danny Valencia. So Danny delivers his first hit this afternoon, a ringing double out to right center field. Got a pitch, a fastball from Bass right down the middle around the belt. Max Muncy is going to come up as Valencia leads off for the A's. He is at second base, and Muncy batting in the DH spot for Billy Butler. So Clay Thompson throwing out the ceremonial first pitch on Saturday, and the A's honoring the big three before the game on Sunday. That pregame ceremony will start at around 12:50 out here. Grady Fuson will be on hand for the special presentation. Strike on the outside corner, 0-1. The A's special assistant to the GM.
Scouting director at the time.
Yeah, when the big three was drafted, or were drafted. Hudson was picked in 97 as a 6th round pick. Zito in 99 as a 1st rounder. Here's the pitch, and taken inside by Max Muncy. Max, a lot of time up and down the shuttle between Nashville and Oakland this year, as the Rangers get their closer Tollison up and throwing in the bullpen, and they're taking nothing for granted here.
It looks like the A's in 2012 with Grant Balfour.
Here comes the pitch. It's on the way, and Muncy swings and fouls it back out of play. A fastball in 94, and it's 1-2. Well, Sean Tollison, the Texas closer, has 33 saves, and on the road he's 21 for 21.
It'd be nice if the A's could make this a save situation. That'd be a
absolutely
great comeback attempt in the 9th inning.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Muncy, and that's taken inside 2-2. Well, they've had some late drama recently. Even in the first game of the series, they wind up having the tying run at the plate in the 9th inning. Lost the game 8-6.
Tollison threw Billy Butler a 3-2 curveball after a 3-1 fastball.
So the count 2-2. And the pitch by Anthony Bass out of the stretch, and Muncy swings and fouls it back, stays alive. White Sox at the Yankees tonight. That's Sale against Pineda. Tampa Bay is at Boston. Ramirez against Miley. Seattle at Kansas City. Paxton against Cueto. That's a big start for Johnny Cueto. Not that the Royals are in any jeopardy of not winning their division, but they'd like to get Cueto on track before the postseason begins. And Cleveland at Minnesota. Anderson against Gibson. Muncy, a ground ball near the bag at first, right to Moreland, and Moreland goes to the bag. And that's the first down. Valencia goes to third for the A's. Bottom of the 9th inning, Texas on top, 8-1. And that'll bring up Jason Pridey. And he's going to bat for Reddick. And again, any game the Twins play right now, the Angels play, the teams in contention. Minnesota will begin tonight their home game against Cleveland. And they're just a game back of the wild card. And even with the Astros in the loss column. So Jason Pridey had a great year. The A's rewarding Pridey after a great year in AAA. Been around a long time, and the pitch by Bass is lifted to center field, and Shala going out from second, and that's going to be caught by the second baseman. In the shift, it was actually Alberto, the shortstop, who went back and made the catch. Hanser Alberto makes the play for the second out.
Similar play occurred on Tuesday night where Rougned Odor scored on a similar play with, I think it was Lord going out, catching with his back to the infield, tagging up, and of course this is a little bit different as far as the score, but turned out to be a big run. And aggressive base running.
Yeah, we were talking about the playoffs, the A's and the Red Sox in 03, and wasn't it here the collision between Damian Jackson and Johnny Damon in center field? Just a brutal collision out there.
Yes, it was. Scary.
Here's Stephen Vogt as the A's have Valencia over third with 2 out in the bottom of the ninth. 8-1 ball game, and it's on the way. And Stephen swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Here's the pitch, and Vogt, it's a fly ball center field. Stubbs went back, now coming on. He's right there under it, and he makes the catch. And the Texas Rangers have beaten the A's, and they've swept the 3-game series against the Athletics, and the Rangers now lead the West by 3.